and Golden.
Golden. All right. Welcome to another Saturday edition of Metalheads Unite. I guess it's Saturday at most everywhere. I guess just depends on the time of day on Saturday.
we probably should just stop saying good morning, because I mean we know damn well that it's not morning everywhere. With everybody that listens to us, we should know better than that by now.
So welcome to Metalheads Unite, the Yawn edition.
Yeah, exactly.
We are fresh off of a night of music going. So it was about 3:15 before I got in. So I don't know about you, but
that's what time it was when I got to bed.
Yeah, so ran about 5.5 hours of sleep. So
it seems like as soon as I shut my eyes, it was time for me to open them again. It's like, oh God, come on, man.
It was worth it though. So I mean,
it was absolutely worth it. I would do it. I would do it again today. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, last night we finally got to see a band live in concert. That if you have seen this show before, I guarantee you guys have heard us talk about this band before. But their very first North American tour, William Savant. Thank you for the like this morning. Good to see you.
Welcome, William.
Yeah, William Savant, all the way from our friends up at Sepsis up in the Northeast, where it is morning. We do know it's morning in the Northeast. But we finally got to see Angelus Apatrida live last night. They were at the Brickyard Bar and Barbecue in Knoxville, Tennessee. So we drove out there yesterday evening to check out that show. But those of you who don't know where we live a little south of Nashville. So talking about a 3.5 hour drive one way. So, we were leaving Knoxville at 11 o'clock Nashville time to come back. So, we're talking about getting back to the house at like 3 a.m. So, yes, sir. Thank you for the share. Thank you very much. But Angelus Apatrida wasn't the only good band.
It's Facebook user Dana.
It's either Dana or it's either Dana or it's William.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know Dana usually shows up.
Regardless of who it is,
Dana
Dana shows up as Facebook user all the time. But yeah. But we appreciate the shares no matter where they come from. We appreciate all you guys. Thank you very much.
Well, I was just going to say, if it was Dana, I was going to ask him about the semi question that I was talking about yesterday, so he would probably know.
Oh yeah, he would know.
I was just kind of curious. I said, well, if he, I just happened to think about that. So, if that's him, I'll ask about it. But anyway, yeah, Angelus Apatrida did not disappoint. They were
they did not,
and we actually got to meet up with the Wormo after the show there. So really cool guy, laid back, definitely not what I expected. I was just like, people, it's your first North American tour. So I didn't kind of know how they would react to that. So, being from Spain and which was
they
cool.
were all, he was super duper gracious.
Yeah. It's like, we talked to him for a few minutes there, and
a good 5-10 minutes.
And then we talked to the band Hidden Intent throughout the night. So I mean, he was they were out.
Hey, there's Rockin' Heavy. There's Victor right there.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Victor! Shout out to Victor. Good to see you, buddy. But yeah, we'll give a quick rundown of the bill anyway. Angeles Apatrida from Spain, they were the headliners. And then before them, we had Nervo Chaos. They're from Sao Paulo, Brazil, death metal band out of Brazil. Then we had Hidden Intent, three-piece thrash metal band out of Australia. Then we had Offensive, thrash metal band out of, I want to say Baltimore, Maryland. I think that's where they were from Baltimore. And then, unfortunately, we got held up in traffic on the interstate on the way out there. What's up, Rockin' Heavy? And then we got held up in traffic on the interstate headed out to Knoxville. So unfortunately, we weren't able to show up in time to see the local opening band. So really don't know much about them. I can't even I feel bad about this, but I can't even remember the name of the band. I will look that up. So we did make it in time. We did make it in time to see 4 of the 5 bands. So not really much you can do about traffic on the interstate on a Friday afternoon. So we kind of got held up there, but yeah. So like Jason said, we did get to talk to Guillermo Izquierdo, lead singer of Angeles Apatrida, after the show. We talked to all 3 of the guys in Hidden Intent, and those 3 guys are hilarious. They were super nice, easy to talk to. Yeah. The lead singer's hilarious. The guitar player's out of his mind.
Yeah.
That was
Phil Bennett was the guitar player for those guys, and Chris McEwen was the vocalist, and then Paul Lewis on drums there. But Chris was pretty much once their set was done, he was front row of the rest of the show. So it was pretty good. And like he actually had an Angeles Apatrida shirt on, which was cool. So he's actually supporting the band they're opening for. So it's pretty cool. Like and those guys have been around for like 11 years. I didn't realize that, but
that's the funny thing is, like, it's weird, because we had only came across Angeles Apatrida last year when the new album had come out, right. So when the bill was announced for the tour, obviously we wanted to see them. And with them being in North America for the first time, and then all the other bands that were on the bill, I've never heard of any of them. So, thank you, Rockin' Heavy. Appreciate you, Victor. Thank you. We basically were, with the exception of Angeles Apatrida, we were listening to all these bands for the very first time, with the exception of On Our Way. Previously during the week, and then on the trip out to the venue last night, we were getting ourselves acquainted with the other bands on the trip out. But the funny thing is I listened to the new album by Offensive and Hidden Intent and Nervo Chaos. Nervo Chaos was actually the only band on the show that actually had an album come out in 22. Everybody else was touring on an album from last year, which is fine. But listening to the albums on Spotify, and then actually getting to see them live, man, like it was almost like listening to them on Spotify didn't really do them justice to see and actually hear them perform live. A lot of times that really doesn't translate like the other way. They sound, a lot of times I've heard so many bands who can't translate the sound live that they have on their albums. But it was weird because, like, last night it almost seemed like the other ways, like they sounded better live, not to take away from the way their albums are recorded or anything, but it was just, of course it could have been the venue too, because it was such a small place. I mean, we were literally standing right on top of the stage just about, so maybe that had a little bit to do with it. I don't know. But I mean, considering it was a small venue with a small crowd, which truth be told, I kind of had a little bit of a problem with the small crowd, but I mean, what are you going to do? So, but
I'm sure that, if we brought William on a show, he would have some say about why that happens. But
well, yeah, I'm sure he would.
but I mean, it's one of those things where these guys are from out of the United States, and they're touring the United States, so I'm sure they needed a little help promoting, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably lay that on the promoters' feet if your show's not packed like it should be, then that's a promotion issue, not a performer issue. Because I mean, like I said, there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people that still don't know about these bands that should. I mean, that's why we
Yeah.
do what we do to kind of carry the torch, try to help carry the torch for these bands. It's like, uh, Angel Sapatrita now hidden in tent. I'll talk about those guys a million times too, probably, because man, they're so freaking awesome. Like like you said, the guitar player is so. Oh man, dude, he blew my mind last night. I was just like, damn, this dude is
Yeah.
going the fuck off, man.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, so it was a really good show, I thought. So
Yeah. I
and it
mean,
was so
it
crazy.
was.
Like it was so crazy how like all those countries came together to do a U.S. tour. It's kind of like, wow, that's we were talking about that too, about how far off they are, and they came
Mm-hmm.
together to do a U.S. tour. It's kind of wild, but
Yeah. And not to really get ahead of ourselves or anything, but like I say, we did get a chance to talk to, basically we all but basically have 3 of the 4 bands lined up to come on the show at some point in the not too distant future.
hopefully, yeah.
So yeah, obviously we're excited about that, but you know, the guys that we talked to from the various bands, they were all super nice. They were all super
Mm,
receptive and
yeah.
eager to actually join us on the show. So hopefully, here in the next 3-4 weeks we'll have at least one more concert announcement. I know Jason's got another band lined up. So I mean, our uh our dance card is filling up. so
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah. So hopefully, when one or all of those bands kind of end up coming on the show, maybe we can kind of pick their brains and find out how Australia, Brazil, and
Mhm.
Spain all kind of ended up on a bill together,
Yeah.
because that would be
And and then
interesting to
yeah, then
hear how that came about.
and then had a band from Potomac, Maryland, open up for him. So,
Yeah. Oh, is that where it was?
so
Potomac, Maryland?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. I thought it was Baltimore. I'm sorry, but
yeah.
I knew
Well, I
I
mean,
knew it was.
probably I don't know how close in reaction, relative that is, but
Oh, okay.
you know,
Well, I knew
I'm
I
sure
knew it
I'm,
was.
I'm
I
I'm
knew it
sure
was
William
Maryland.
I'm sure William probably have already heard about this band probably. So he's
Probably. I seriously wouldn't doubt it.
yeah. So especially with the list he gave us that time. So
Well, actually, I actually have to pull that list back out. They may actually be on it. I would not be the
I
least.
wouldn't know. They probably are. So
I wouldn't be the least bit
they've been around.
surprised.
It looks like they were formed in 1980. So I mean they've been around a minute. So um,
They have? Holy
obsessed,
shit.
yeah. That's what it says. So
Um, yeah, Victor, I will actually. I tried to send you a screenshot of that of the flyer for that festival. I tried to send that to you last night, but it wouldn't let me send you a message on the Rock and Heavy. So I'll probably email it to you. I did post about it on the and I hate the fact that I can't remember the name of this.
actually, that
Let's see.
is
Hold
not
on.
the same band. So
You're talking about offensive, not obsessive. Um, I
that's right.
did, yeah, Victor. I did post about the festival in your Comunidad Metal Snakes page, because that was the only one that would let me send it through. But I can email it to you. I did not forget. I definitely will. I will definitely get you that flyer for that festival next weekend. I absolutely will. I promise you, sir. I will not forget.
Hmm. All right.
Because I was gonna say, that the lead singer of, I mean, I don't know how old the other guys are. I was like, the lead singer of that offensive band doesn't look like he's old enough to have been around since 1980.
Yeah, that's that was a whole different. That was actually the obsessed. I looked at. I'm just like, oh, that's not the right band. So yeah, I'm not.
But yeah, Victor, I did see a couple of. Oh, see, there we go. V Nashville. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Victor, I will definitely make sure I send you that. And I on the way back from Knoxville, I did see some of the videos from the live streaming you were doing last night. They came out really well. So.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, good
I didn't
job.
because I was driving.
Good
but...
job on that. Well, yeah, I was checking a few of them out. So yeah, they came out pretty good, Victor. You did a good job. But yeah, so yeah, for all of our thrash metal fans out there, Angela Sapatrita, we've talked about them going on probably a year and a half now since their new album came out. If you guys haven't listened to Angela Sapatrita, you guys, especially if you're thrash fans like us, if you're looking for a new thrash band to check out, you absolutely will not be disappointed. They got 5 albums out.
I was about to say you're 5 albums behind. So.
You are 5 albums behind. Their first album came out in 2010, but I mean they've got their all 5 of their albums are fantastic. And then our new friends from Australia, Hidden Intent. I don't remember when they were formed, but they've got 3 albums.
2011. So
2011. Okay, yeah, they've got 3 albums. They're all on Spotify. They're easy to find. Offensive. They've been out for a little while. They've got an album that came out last year. I don't remember how many albums they've got. I think it's 2 or 3 albums that they've got, but they're also on Spotify. And then for our death metal fans out there, Nervo Chaos out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. They've got their new album came out actually earlier this year, so it's on Spotify. It's easy to find. So all of these bands are definitely worth your time. They put on a great show. We both still think there should have been a bigger crowd there last night. All of those guys definitely deserved it. So
Offensive has been around since 2015. So
2015. Okay.
So
yeah.
I finally found them. So
okay, there you go. Yeah.
Definitely definitely a cool guy. Like, they were very, I didn't get to talk to the lead singer that much, but he was definitely, very, very friendly. Like,
oh yeah.
We were talking like I bought some of their stuff, to kind of support those guys. And he was talking about, we got to talking for a minute, and then I mentioned the show, and he's like, "Oh, here's my card. Hit me up. We'll come on." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So, he kind of got ahead of me. So
yeah, a little bit.
I was trying to butter him up a little bit first, but he was. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was pretty.
But yeah, that's the funny thing though. Is like everyone that we have had on the show so far. They've been no one has ever like waffled and like, well, we're not sure we want to come on the show. Anyone we've ever reached out to who has accepted an invitation has been super duper like, yes, absolutely. They've been super excited about it. They've been gracious to accept the invitation, and everyone's been down to earth and real easy to talk to. And we've had 2-hour plus interviews with everybody who's been on the show so far. It's just been amazing. Everyone's real cool and down to earth, and just, hey, just everybody puts their pants on one fucking leg at a time. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, and it speaking on that, if you missed last Friday night's show, you can go back and check that out on YouTube or our Facebook page or any of those outlets there, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. But but yeah, we had Vinnie Carrion from Ashes Rain on, and a very great conversation too. So I kind of felt like he was about as knowledgeable about the business side of things as William was from Sepsis, because I kind of felt like he was talking about a lot of the backdoor dealings with labels and stuff like that. And I thought, man, it's kind of cool that you look at the band and like they've been around for a minute, but they don't have a lot of stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, once you hear the interview, you'll know why, because he's very
Right.
you know, this is his baby. So I mean, it's kind of like, you know, you want to make sure everything's you know, right where you want it to be before you put out a product. I mean,
Yeah, and he was very forthcoming on like everything that
yeah,
the band had gone through earlier in their career. You know, talking about how they were initially like a death metal band, and then some of the
right.
stuff they went through with lineup changes and people coming and going, and the fact that they, you know, they had a hard time finding a vocalist, so he finally ended up taking over and everything, and just all of the stuff they kind of went through from the time that the band got together, some of the evolutions that they had to go through, and all that good stuff. So I mean, he was just like he was really.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, all of the bands have been, but I mean, he was just really an open book about everything.
Well, it just shows you that you don't have to have, you know, multiple albums out there to carry on a 2 hour conversation, you know, or plus
Mm-hmm.
about, you know, heavy metal and you know what you were doing. It's just like, I mean,
Right.
you know, it was his floor, and he you know, he took it and stood on it very well, I think. So
I think so. Yeah.
yes, I mean, there was no lack of conversation throughout the whole thing.
Mm-mm.
Actually, you know, I think we probably could have went longer. And you know, we were, you know, being a Friday night, we had still had preparations for the Saturday show, so
Yeah.
we couldn't
Yeah.
go, you know, we couldn't go all night like we, you know, wanted
Yeah.
to. But
That's that.
I'd love to have Beanie back on again when they get close to putting out something new, man. It'd be,
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I mean, I'm shit. I have no qualms about inviting him back on when their LP comes out. Absolutely none. But yeah,
yeah,
that's
you know,
and that's another funny thing is like, you know, the interviews that we have had. Like I say, we've had 2 hour plus, you know, 2 hour plus interviews with everybody, uh, and and I don't know what you think. You probably
there.
agree with you probably agree with me on this, but I mean, you know, every interview we've had, I mean, probably every single one of them could have gone on for at least another
Oh
hour,
yeah,
maybe more. You
yeah.
know, I mean, you know, because I
A
mean,
lot of a lot
when
of these
Devil
guys
comes
have
on,
been
same
so
thing.
easy to they've been so easy to talk to. It's just like you know, actually, you know, when you're meeting these new bands and you don't really like, you've never like had a conversation with, it's kind of like, okay, wonder how long this is going to go. Is this going to, you know, the content going to be good? I mean, you really don't know. So we're doing live stuff, so we're not cutting anything out. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
we don't have the time to go record something and edit it. I like the realism of having people on and
Yeah.
you know, and not cut. Like I said, we were talking about how uh, we heard a story a while back. I think it was a Metallica story that was, oh, I never heard that one or something. And we were talking about that, and I said, well, you know, these reporters from all these big magazines always ask the same questions. So, you
It
know,
was
some of these stories are bound to come out when you get asked a different question. So,
yeah. Well, I think the story you're referring to is the one that I posted in the Metalheads Unite Facebook group about when Dave Mustaine punched James Hetfield in the face.
yeah, I think that was it.
And I had never heard that story before. So
Yeah,
yeah, so it's a perfect example of, you know, I mean,
yeah.
you never know the stories you're going to hear, and even with as long as some of the big bands have been around, you still have never heard any.
Oh yeah, you
Still
haven't heard everything.
haven't heard
Mm.
everything, but
Yeah, yeah. You
but
just got to ask the right questions, you know.
well, that's true. You do. That's true. You do.
I mean, to me, we were interviewing a band like Metallica. You know, the the last thing I would ask them was about, you know, what's it like to play with Cliff. We already know these things. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we know what happened with Cliff. We know what happened with, you know, James, Ben. I mean, you don't want to bring up that kind of stuff when you're talking to a band. For one, you don't want to bring up about alcoholism to somebody that's, you know, recovering from it, because that's not
Mm-hmm.
a very good step in recovery is keep bringing it up. But
Yeah.
really, that's none of our business, to be honest. I don't think it is.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You know, if he's in recovery, or whatever band's in recovery, that's their business. I mean, I don't, you know, if they want to come out and share that on their socials and say, hey, we had to, you know, cut out of a tour or something because so and so went into rehab, that's on them. But I don't think a reporter should go out and dig for that information. So
No. See, that's a funny thing. I think it would actually be a little more difficult to interview a band like Metallica or something. They've been around for more than 40 years. I don't think there probably isn't a question they haven't been asked at this point.
Yeah, probably. We just haven't seen the interview or whatever from everything, because it's hard to do that.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But
I mean, if a band been around that long, you could probably sit and watch interviews 2 or 3 days in a row and still not see everything. So,
right.
but yeah, from the time we got it, really Ashes Rain remind me a lot of One of the Last with the way they've come in and looking for that certain band member that's going to help accelerate their sound and stuff like. Because I mean, John O'Connor was talking about finding a bass player. They took him forever to find the right bass player. So, but they're there now. They're there now. So we will definitely keep you informed if they put out anything new. So if you hadn't, like I said, if you haven't watched this show, then you need to go back and listen to a lot of the. I mean, if nothing else, go back and listen to the interviews that we've done, because these are bands that a lot of people don't know about. So I think should. And like I said, I think they should. Yeah. So and like I said, there's probably just as many we reached out to that never got back to us. I mean, it's not like we're not trying to get them out there. It's just they got other things going on, and that's fine. I mean, that's understandable. I mean, everybody's got a different load for every day. So so it's they and by the time they do get around to it, they probably forgot about it. So
right, yeah.
Because I mean, I know some of that stuff's been months ago. So and it's fine. Like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, life happens. We understand that. So
I'm almost like looking in the chat over here, and I'm almost like trying to figure. It's so like close together the pictures from Rockin' Heavy and Metalheads. I'm just like, okay, which one's which?
I know.
It's cool though. I think it's kind of kind of funny.
Yeah, I do like it. Yeah.
it was Victor, right?
Victor. Yep.
Yeah, he was a cool guy. I like Victor.
Oh yeah.
He's kind of he's kind of showed up at some of the same shows, and you were talking about that when that's the first time I had met the guy, but I think you had talked to him once before or something. So
yeah, it was weird because it was weird because I met him initially in Nashville 2 weeks ago, at the Testament show. I was talking to him in the pit, and then I talked to him outside the venue before we left. And then we walk into this little restaurant last night, and I see him standing there, and I was like, no way, that's the same guy. And sure as shit, I walked up to him, I tapped him on the shoulder, said, "Hey, bud, were you at the Testament show 2 weeks ago?" And he looked at me like he's trying to figure out where he knew me from too. But so we were kind of doing the same thing, because he saw me and I saw him. I was like, no way, that's the same guy. And sure as shit, we ended up being the same guy we thought we were. So
yeah.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's funny. It's funny stuff. So.
It's a small world, man. So
it is. So. All right, man. I guess we will gear this show up.
Hell yeah.
Talk a little bit about the show, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's to come next week. Big week planned next week. So
yes,
an announcement about the show next week as well. So
yep.
So we'll get this going so we can get everything in. So kick it off as usual with birthdays. Not a lot this week. Actually, didn't even have any for today that I found. So that is actually, you know what? I think I may have had one not on the list here. Just a second.
Are you getting any like weird audio feedback?
Sorry, I had to sneeze there. I didn't know y'all didn't want to hear that. So, actually, I did get him on here. So good. I didn't remember if I put it on here or not. So anyway, so birthdays from the 24th through today, September 24th. We had Darian Thompson, a guitarist for Locust Grove. That's a band that I actually did a album review on earlier than the year. So then we skip over to the 26th. We had John Tempesta drums for the Cult. September 28th, George Lynch, guitarist for Lynch Mob, and of course Dokken. Ginger Fish, drummer for Marilyn Manson. September 20th, we had Al Petrelli, guitarist for Megadeth from 2000 to 02, and Widowmaker from 92 to 94. And he also played with Alice Cooper and Sabotage. So he had a pretty lengthy career there. So
damn, yeah.
So big bands too. So I mean,
that's quite the resume.
He's been around. Then we had Les Claypool, of course, bassist and singer-songwriter for Primus.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know who Les Claypool is, do yourselves a favor and check out one of the best bass players you'll ever see play bass. So,
bass player who was even too good for Metallica.
Yeah, that tells you how good he was. So, then we had Alex Skolnick, guitarist for Testament, and of course plays for the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Which is, I think, it's pretty amazing that he's able to go from Testament to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. It's pretty cool.
Well, he's definitely got the talent to do it for sure.
Yeah, that's
Jesus.
Like we talked about that Bass Strikes Back tour being some of the best group of guitarists on one tour.
Oh my Lord, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's unreal. So
yeah, and I mean, I actually happened to be front and center. I mean, Alex Skolnick was standing literally like 5 feet away from me.
Yeah.
And then, because I mean, you have, and then Rob Cavastani, same thing. I mean, from where we were standing, Rob Cavastani was standing right in front of us. Then Alex Skolnick was standing right in front of her Testament. And then you got Lee Altus and Gary Holt in Exodus. God, get the hell out of here, man. I mean, you want to talk about thrash metal legendary guitar players. I mean, there's 4 of them right there on the same bill.
Yeah, that's great. That's just crazy. Like, the first time we seen that lineup, I never thought about it until the first time we seen it. And we were talking about it on the way back from Chattanooga, and I was like, dude, did you realize like the guitar talent that was just on that stage?
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus.
And then to only have to pay $30 to see it.
Yeah, right. $10 a band.
I mean, no, you cannot beat that. You're not going to do it.
I'll do that 5 times a year, for that.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, we go back here. September 29th here is last one there was Dallas Green, vocalist and guitarist for Alex is on Fire from 2001 to 2011. Then we had September 30th. We had a Bill Riflin, drummer for 9 Inch Nails and King Crimson. He passed away in 2020. Then we had John Campbell, bassist for Lamb of God. So that was a short birthday list this week. So that was kind of, I didn't see anything for today. So we do have some big ones next week. So.
Well, I do have one for today. It's not a member of a band or anything, but my cousin Steve, who is also a member of the Metalheads Unite Facebook group. So he's my cousin and he's a fellow headbanger and he's a fellow Metalheads Unite member. Today is his birthday, so
cool.
So shout out to my cousin Steve.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday to him, and then all those mentioned there, and then.
Yep.
If I missed anybody, I apologize. And then, of course, if anybody listening out there had a birthday this week, happy birthday to you as well. So,
and Victor, in response to your last comment, if you're looking for a band from Scandinavia, we highly recommend a band that we talked to from Sweden called The Defaced. They had a new album called Charlatans that came out earlier this year. It is on Spotify, so I would definitely check them out. So.
Yeah, they just released a new video as well. So
yes, they did. So they do have some new music trickling out. So,
well, I mean, it's from the album, but it's a new video. So
right. Yeah. So I would definitely
new singles, anyways. So.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as bands from Scandinavia, you got Sabaton, you got Hammerfall, you got Amon Amarth, so I mean you've got so many bands just from Scandinavia alone. But yeah, Europe really pumps out some fantastic heavy metal. So as is as is the case with Angelus Apatrida from Spain. So I mean
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, we got a little bit of taste from different parts of the world last night.
Yeah,
So
we did.
we had Brazil and Spain and Australia. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool to hear, some of these, and just like, one of the bands that I listened to during the week, and the new album that came out, they were a Japanese metal band. I'm just like, wow, man, it's just crazy to see, and it's cool to see it all come from different parts.
Oh, it's amazing.
Amon Amarth will be in November with Carcass and Obituary. Oh my God, that'll be a great
show.
Wow,
that's a hell of a lineup. Holy shit, man.
I think after next week's festival, I think I only got lined up is Machine Head. So
yeah. After the festival this coming Saturday, I think that Machine Head show is going to have to be the last one for the year, just from a financial standpoint.
Well, for me, I can't do much during, because I mean, like I said, I work for a company that goes into the Christmas season, and I never know my work schedule, so it's kind of a hectic work schedule. So I have to be picky and choosy between the 1st of November and the 1st of January. So unfortunately, that's why if you see my posts or anything like that, that's why you see so many shows from January to September and October, is because I try to get as much as I can in before that. So
right before the holiday rush hits. So. But I mean, we've talked about it. We've talked about it on this show before, talking about how heavy metal is literally a worldwide genre, and that bill last night just proves the point. Like Jason said, you had Spain, Brazil, and Australia represented on the same bill. It's just the way it came. We still have no idea on the details of how it came together.
Represented in North America. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, I mean the entire world literally has contributions to the genre of heavy metal. So I mean, I think obviously we're biased towards the heavy metal genre, but we still don't think that any other genre of music is as diverse as heavy metal when you're talking about just a international flavor standpoint.
Well, I mean, just look at I think my wife posted something about Pantera did like an impromptu show somewhere at some like stadium and drew 700,000 people. So it's kind of like take that, Cardi B, or impromptu show, not a fucking not something that was scheduled 3 or 4 months in advance. I mean, it was kind of and impromptu means it was probably done within weeks. So it's
probably
like, wow,
or days, who knows.
Yeah.
And so take that Cardi B, and not to get too far ahead, but take that Adam Levine.
I was going to mention something about that too, and then I was like,
we'll get to that.
I'll just wait. So.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I kind of figured that was probably going to. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm looking through papers, and I hit the.
Yeah, you're good.
Stop cam button. So
and I mean,
I was like, what happened?
Yeah, and while we're on the subject, let's not forget about our new friend Victor. I mean, he lives in Tennessee, but he's
from
Peru. So I mean, South there's so many heavy metal fans in South America. I was talking to him about that just last night.
Yeah, and I think we were talking too about how when we started this thing, we were amazed about some of the feedback we were getting from Turkey and. Of course, our friend down in Mexico, Octavio.
Yeah, Octavio. Yep.
And different parts of Germany, and we've had comments from a lot of different places. I'm just
Pakistan, Russia. I mean, it's
been crazy.
Yeah. Our very first fan our very first international fan anyway. Before we joined this platform, we had
Scotland.
We had a fan from Scotland. So I mean. Heavy metal is literally everywhere. I mean, when you're getting heavy metal fans from the Middle East, that just goes to show you that heavy metal is practically literally everywhere.
Well, so bringing that up, I think if you have any doubts, go look up a band called Confess and follow that story, because that's like I said, that's one of the craziest stories, and that band's from uh,
Iran,
I think, right? Yeah,
they're from Iran.
They're
I would still really like to get them on the show so they could tell their story.
I think that I thought about that when. And then I've seen so many interviews with them talking about it, and I'm just like, I'm not going to beat them to death about that. So if they ever did come on the show, I probably wouldn't bring that up too much. So,
well, it would be one of the. It'd
kind of beat it to death. It sounds like.
Well, it would be
like
it would be one of those instances where like if they wanted to talk about it, we'd let them.
Right. I wouldn't tell them not to, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
But you're talking about not asking them about it directly, yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it's I try to be one of those people that doesn't beat a topic to death. If you
right. Well, I don't like. I don't like to either.
Yeah, if I've seen interviews where you've talked about it before, I mean, we're not going to offer anything that you had, not already been heard. So, I mean, that's I think if we're offering something that hasn't been heard, or I mean, that's kind of what we want to do. Is that's how you become the first to do anything, is because we're interviewing bands that haven't had that much of a platform before. So,
right. And Victor, I'm going to check out that band you just mentioned. Hell Ripper sounds like definitely sounds like a pretty damn awesome band. Black and Thrash. I'm definitely going to check that out. Thank you for the pointer there. I'm actually going to write that down so I don't forget it. Hang on. Hell Ripper. Did we freeze? Did I freeze? What happened? One of us is frozen. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's me or him. I can never tell. I can never tell. Oh, must have been him. Okay. His Wi-Fi must have kind of went a little wonky. Usually that happens to me. Usually I'm the one that has the damn Wi-Fi go down. I don't know why that keeps happening, but especially on a day like this where, I mean, it's sunny and 60 degrees. I mean, the weather's fucking perfect here. So I mean, that seems to be when it happens the most, is when the weather is actually good. So, but Jason will be back with us here in just a second. I'm sure he's usually able to get his issues taken care of relatively quickly. So, but well, while we're at it, we may as well go ahead and jump in here. Oh, see there. Yeah, see there he is. Yep, what'd you do? Did you hit the eject button? Oh, he did it again. He needs to move his buttons or something. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, you good?
I thought we was playing musical like logins.
Okay, there we go.
So I logged out. No, the first time I was like, oh shit, I printed out that paper and I forgot to change my Wi-Fi. So that Wi-Fi never, like, it's good for printing my stuff out, but not much for anything else. So,
no, okay.
I was like, oh shit, I seen it started circling. I said, shit, I forgot to change. So yeah.
Oh, that little blue circle.
Yeah, that's kind of. I was like, well, that's what happens. That's what happens on 5 hours of sleep. You forget. So.
Yeah. I hate that fucking blue circle.
All right. Well, I guess we can get into some news of the week here. So.
Yeah. Thankfully, we're happy to pass along the news this week that we don't have to report on anybody passing away this week. So that's
thank you. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's always nice when we don't have to lead off this segment with somebody passing away. So we're relieved about that. So, but we do have some news about another lineup change. So starting off over at the PRP.com. Vocalist Ryo Kinoshita has announced his departure from long-running Japanese metalcore outfit Crystal Lake. Kinoshita held the lead vocalist position in the band from 2012 up until his departure. In a statement shared by the band on September 28th, he outlined his reasons for departing the group. Here's what he had to say. Quote, I have decided to leave Crystal Lake. I sincerely apologize to all the fans and everyone involved for whom I have caused a great deal of trouble since the hiatus from September of last year. As previously mentioned in the hiatus announcement last year, I have an illness known as adjustment disorder, and I have decided that it will be extremely difficult for me to continue as a member of the band in the future. It was certainly not an easy decision, but I believe I made the best choice by taking the time to reflect on myself. I struggled for 10 years and continued to fight. I didn't have many allies, and I relied only on myself and the voices of the fans. I've been suffering from adjustment disorder for about 5 years. Some days I can't sleep. Some days I can only sleep. Sometimes everything becomes pitch black and you can't move like a corpse. There were many times when I couldn't stop crying before a live show, but I am proud of what Crystal Lake has achieved around the world and what we have achieved with the help of our crew, staff, and everyone. Crystal Lake has been the '1 live band in the world for the past decade, without a doubt. Thank you very much to all the fans who supported me during the 10 years I was around. Rio. End quote. In light of Kinoshita's departure, the group has begun hosting open auditions. Those looking to try their hand at fronting the band can find more details over at crystallake-audition.com. So any aspiring metalcore vocalists can go check that out. And this is I mean it's unfortunate that he felt like he had to make this decision, because I'm sure I'm sure he didn't want to leave the band, but it's one of those things, and we've talked about it on multiple occasions, especially a lot here lately, it seems like. But more and more of these band members are starting to come to the realization that, as much as they love their bands, no matter how long their tenure has been, even if they're like a founding member or someone who joined the band at a later date, maybe even as a replacement for somebody else, these people are starting to realize that their health, whether it be physical health, emotional health, mental health, that all of this stuff is the most important thing. So it's kind of a bummer that he felt like he had to make that decision. But if it helps him in the long run, then you can't be mad at the guy.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I love Crystal Lake. They're a great band, and if you have not heard of their stuff, you definitely should check that out. So it's kind of heartbreaking. And I hope they find I hope they find their replacement. But like I said, it's heartbreaking. I really do hope the best wishes for Crystal Lake, because like I said, it's a band I really do enjoy. So
yeah, and
not a band I've seen live, but
right. Well, and the funny thing is that's just another band that proves the point that we were talking about just a few minutes ago. That's a Japanese metalcore band.
Right. Yeah. So
there you go.
Yep. So crazy stuff. All right, I guess I'll kick off my first one here with Loudwire, the one that we've been wanting to talk about and haven't, because we didn't think the guy deserved any fucking more publicity from it. But
right.
But I read this story and I just had to share it. So if you haven't been following the Maroon 5 frontman Adam Levine's kind of put his foot in his mouth, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then of course Loudwire has went out and asked a few other artists what they thought about it, of course. And so this is that story. So what does Corey Taylor think about Maroon 5 frontman Adam Levine's recent public downfall? Thanks to a recent Instagram live session, we now know. Levine stepped in it pretty good with flirtatious text messages between himself and a woman who is not his wife were exposed publicly, leading the singer to issue a statement on the state of his marriage where he denied cheating but claimed to have crossed the line. He's also taken plenty of heat for when he suggested in the exchange that no hot chicks listen to metal, because I think the chick on the other end was a metal fan, and I guess that was his go-to to get out of with his wife, probably. He's like, well, no hot chicks listen to metal anyway. It's don't worry about it. Anyway, this isn't the first time that Levine has caught heat from the rock and metal community, or Taylor, for that matter. Back in 2018, he suggested that rock music is nowhere, really. I don't know where it is. If it's around, no one's invited me to the party. All of the innovation and incredible things happening in music are in hip hop. It's better than everything else. Well, first off, you weren't invited to the party because you don't know what the fuck rock music is. So, you only know about hip hop because that's what the fuck you're singing. So, after a fan alerted Taylor at the point to Levine's comments, Corey responded, quote, just because you claim to have moves like Jagger doesn't mean you come anywhere close to rocking like Jagger. Tell that schmuck to go back to the fucking voice. Now, in the wake of Levine's recent woes, a Slipknot singer was asked again about the singer during an Instagram live session, initially laughing off the question, then taking a little more joy in laughing about Levine's current predicament. Says, yeah, that's all I have to say about it, and said Taylor before taking a sip of drink and returning to laughing with the intent at the screen and commenting, what a dick. So, Corey Taylor's pretty outspoken. We've known this for a while. So,
oh, yeah.
Taylor isn't the only rocker to weigh in on Levine, with Guar's Blothar the Berserker telling us at the Louder Than Life Festival last weekend, quote, I don't really listen to anything Adam Levine says. He is a good-looking fella. His tattoos look like a Wendy's tablecloth or something. There's lots of hot chicks who listen to metal. That's ridiculous. Of course hot chicks listen to metal. I think he's a dipshit. When asked if Levine might eventually be on the list of public figures the band might kill, the singer added, quote, he's not interesting enough for us to kill. We kill compelling figures like Vladimir Putin or Donald Trump. Fun stuff. Joe Biden, pregnant bad ladies, something like that. So, I thought that was hilarious. He's like, nah, he's not interested enough for us to kill.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, that's just going to give him that much more publicity from this stupid ass shit anyway. And I didn't want to give him anything from the show, but I read this and I thought that was some of the greatest comments, man. It's like, I could see, I would love to see him like get on a show like this one-on-one with Adam Levine, Corey Taylor. That would be pretty interesting. I don't think Adam would ever do that. But,
no, I don't think he would either. But Jesus, that would be brutal.
Yeah, that's money right there. I'll book that shit in a heartbeat.
Yeah, man, that would be brutal. But the funny thing is, like, has Adam Levine even been to like one heavy metal concert?
Well, probably not.
Because you go to one heavy metal concert, he would prove himself wrong just by going to one concert.
And I remember a Facebook post, and I can't remember. I think it was a group called Distortion Overload posted it. I think that's the name of it. And they were talking about metal isn't. It was like they shared some story about metal isn't dead or something. I can't remember, something like that. And I said, and I commented. I said, was anybody told Gene Simmons?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Someone should fill him in.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, the funny thing is, I think Gene. Of course I take umbrage with Gene Simmons' opinion, and I'm not offended by it, but I disagree with it. And the same thing with Adam Levine. He's just an asshole. But I'm not offended by it either because it's just an ignorant statement.
Right.
But at the same time, like you just said, you don't want to give Adam Levine any more press, whether it's good or bad. Mm-hmm. Gene Simmons. The more I think about the whole Gene Simmons thing, about him constantly saying that he thinks rock is dead. Gene Simmons isn't dumb, and he's probably like doing like a wrestling heel kind of thing where he knows that's not true, but he's just gonna say it to be the bad guy.
Simmons
is not stupid.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Ted Nugent and his political talks because I know you're on here as much as I am trying to get content, and I don't think there's a week that goes by that I don't see Ted Nugent on one of these things talking about something political, and I'm like, he knows what he's doing. He's getting the publicity he's looking for by talking about political stuff, and like him being in the NRA and stuff kind of gives him a little bit of a status to kind of uphold, I guess. But it's still kind of wild to go on here and say, I'll look at it a lot of times. And say, it's the stupidest shit I've ever, and then sometimes he has a point. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of times it's just stupid shit that doesn't really matter. So So but he's getting the publicity from it though. So
that's true.
Whose fault is that? Is that his, or is it the magazines that are posting this? So
I mean, the funny thing is, I guess technically we're I guess you could probably count us among. I guess you could technically count our show as media now, but at the same time, it's whenever something like that gets legs and people latch onto it, of course it's the media's fault, especially when they won't let it go.
Right.
You want to report on something, that's fine, but when you keep following up and following up and following up, or just repeating, then it becomes.
Well, I mean, that's just like we talk about a lot of times on here about these stories that and I could do a Megadeth story tomorrow, and I guarantee you it would have something about them kicking, Dave Ellison out of the band. Yep. It's like, dude, we know this. It's a year old. Like, move the fuck on. Like, it's just content that does not need to be in there.
Right. Yeah.
It has nothing to do, like I said, they I could see him maybe saying something when the new album came out because he was actually doing bass on it to begin with, and then they took all that out. So I could see that, but which we still
disagree with. But
I do. I do because I think he put the work in. He should get credit for it. But,
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. They went ahead and they got a hell of a replacement to redo.
Oh well, yeah.
But I mean, but still,
it still isn't right in my eyes. But
no, nor mine. I mean, you want to fire Dave. You want to fire Dave Ellison going forward. That's fine, but don't erase the work he did. But
right.
So that's where we left that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like what we talked about last night with Tim Ripper Owens and Judas Priest. It's like for some reason Rob Howard just does not want to acknowledge that Ripper Owens there was ever a theme. So
right, I know,
and I have no idea why. I mean, it was great to me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was. It was good.
I don't know if it's so this is the thing, is like I don't understand like the reason behind not letting the fans have access to the music. I mean, you don't want to sing it live, that's fine, that's on you, but I mean, I don't understand why you would not allow your fans
you basically literally erase 2 albums completely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
two great albums at that.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Jugulator was one of my favorite albums by Priest. I mean,
it was good,
and maybe that's why. Maybe he's kind of offended that a lot of people say that or so. I don't know. I mean,
maybe
there's no knock from Rob Halford at all.
No,
he's 70 some odd years old. Still sounds like he's 30. I mean, hell, you can't argue with that. It's just the fact that you're erasing something that shouldn't be erased. It's
right.
I mean, there's beef with people, bands. I mean, what if Don Dokken and, George Lynch, we know they've had issues. What if he went back and erased all of Dokken's stuff? I mean, you wouldn't have any music. I mean,
or what if, or here's another example. What if Rachel Bolan decided to erase slave to the grind just because him and Sebastian Bach have been pissed each other for the last 30 years?
So you would.
I mean, for fuck's sake! I mean, you don't like the guy, fine, but at least acknowledge the fact that you guys made a good album together.
Yeah.
And acknowledge the fact that when you decided to leave Judas Priest to go do whatever it was you wanted to do, whether it was Fight, or
which was great too. Like I love Fight.
Yeah, it was. But at the same time, I mean, and as an aside to the aside, I'm taking who better to replace Rob Halford than Tim Ripper Owens? But anyway.
I mean, they pretty much made the Rockstar movie based off of that whole like theme. So,
which was a fucking good movie.
Yeah, a great movie.
Yeah,
so,
it was a great movie.
Yeah. Especially when you see Mark Starr from Steel Panther in it. So.
Yeah, Victor. Victor, to your comment. Yeah, you were telling me about Louder Than Life last night at the festival. Yeah, I bet that was a hell of a way to close it out. I'm sure. So,
that lineup for like closing the festival was sick. As far as like you said, they had Slipknot, they had Alice Cooper. They had Kiss. I mean, they had a lot of big name bands up there closing, the nights out. So,
yeah.
But like I said, overall, like festival wise this year, I think as far as like the full lineups, Blue Ridge had a pretty good lineup. Everything else was fucked, but the lineups were great.
Yeah, lineup was great. All of the other logistics kind of sucked ass, but
yeah.
All right. Excuse
me.
Sorry.
And then another thing that we, since we're still talking about that before we get carried on to something else,
Okay,
we were talking about how Joey Belladonna has been singing John Bush era, Anthrax songs, which is fucking awesome. Like I think that's great because, they never say, well, the John Bush era of Anthrax didn't exist, but because it did, and it was, and he added an element that wasn't there with Belladonna. So
yep.
And it had a different sound to it, yeah, of course, because John Bush has a different sound vocal. So, which I think John Bush is a great vocalist. Joey Belladonna is too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think so. So to me, I think Anthrax was one of those bands that kind of hit the jackpot with vocalists.
I do too.
when you think about it, you're like, wow, they went from Joey Belladonna to John Bush. That's crazy.
Well, that's the funny thing is Judas Priest did too, but why they won't acknowledge the fact that, because Owens was only in the band for what, 3 years?
3 or 4, yeah. It was short lived.
Yeah, so but he
Iced Earth too. His time in Iced Earth was great too. So is Iced Earth going to kill all of his era music? Probably not, because that's. They're not like that. They're going to make money off of it.
Yeah, no, Iced Earth is going to kill everything John Schaefer did.
Well, okay, then we won't have any albums. So
I know, and that would be bullshit. But but I just making a joke. If you kill everything,
yeah. That's what
you kill. Yeah, you kill everything that John Schaefer was involved in. You literally erase the entire band. The band.
Yeah, Why would you? I don't understand. Why would you erase any of the history of your band? I mean,
it doesn't make any sense. No, I mean none of it makes any sense.
That's part of what happened in the band, and it's part of your story. It's part of your story. It's like,
right.
Maybe Rob feels kind of responsible for everything that happened in that era and just don't want to relive it, or so I don't know, but
maybe
whatever the case is,
maybe I don't know. Well, but that's the funny thing is he's really got nothing to be ashamed about. He took time to do a couple of solo projects. He made good music with his side projects, and they came back. I think if anything, if Rob Halford would, if I'm Rob Halford, if I'm more ashamed or embarrassed by anything, I wouldn't be ashamed or embarrassed by Tim Owens replacing me for a while. I'd be more embarrassed by the fallout of KK Downing's exit.
Right.
I would be more embarrassed by that than Tim Ripper Owens coming in and replacing me as a vocalist for a little while. If you want to be embarrassed by anything, be embarrassed by that. But at the same time, you and I both feel the same way about erasing history in general. But why? Because it happened. Whatever happened, happened, and you move on and you learn from it. But as far as in the grand scheme of things, these bands, the history that these bands have had with each other, whether there's been drama, whether there's been breakups and shakeups, whatever the hell you want to call it. You guys made music together. You put albums out. They're out there. They're out there to be listened to and to be enjoyed. So whatever happened between you guys, hell, imagine if Queensryche decided to fucking get rid of everything that Jeff Tate was a part of.
God.
Queensryche, you wipe Queensryche off the map. But that shit happened. Whatever happened, it's fine. The music, separate the personal shit from the professional shit. Leave the music alone. If Jeff Tate never speaks to anybody in Queensryche again, that's between those guys.
Yeah.
Let the music be the music. The art is out there to be enjoyed.
Well, so this is a prime example. So, I know this is kind of like more of a hard rock topic than heavy metal topic, but I just went to Blue Ridge and they had a reunion with Saliva with Josie Scott, and like we know the heat with those guys, but Josie Scott came out, he did his stuff, he was grateful. he even thanked I can't remember the new lead singers. I haven't listened to Saliva in years, so apologize. But he even thanked the new lead singer for taking over the band and taking it in the direction and still making it relevant. He's like, "You still making the band relevant. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity." I mean, he was very grateful for the opportunity to be out there just performing again. So. And it's cool to have that. Maybe they patch things up a little bit or something.
Yeah,
and it's cool to see both singers on there getting along and singing stuff. So I mean, I would pay a ticket tomorrow if I knew that Tim Ripper Owens would come out and sing pre-songs with Rob Halford. I'm like, oh my god, that would be so fucking amazing. But and it's just like, and that's just like with people with Light the Torch. If you see Light the Torch and Killswitch on a tour together, you're expecting Howard to come out and sing with Jesse. I mean, that's just they sang a collaboration together on the last Killswitch album. So
that's the funny. Those guys are all friends. There was
they love each other.
Yeah, there was I mean, if you want an example of lineup changes with zero animosity, that was it right there.
Yeah.
There was none.
Both singers had to step back because of health reasons, and the band's not going to hold them, hold that against them because. Let's see, Rick's got a question in here.
Yeah.
Waiting for a while is the fact that Pantera never acknowledged the existence of their very first album, which is glam heavy. In fact, the next two albums were the same, and it's only the fourth album where they switched to more extreme metal. Why are they ashamed of their glam past? So, that's a good question. I wish we could get Phil or somebody on the show to ask, because I don't know how to answer that one, honestly. I don't know if they were ashamed or what happened with why they just erased it. I guess because it was like a totally different Pantera. So I think what the best way to put that is that was Pantera, and when you got Phil, you got Pantera 2.0. So
right, I was just about to say the same thing. Is like the Pantera that everyone, I mean, obviously, Pantera, Cowboys from Hell was their fifth album. A lot of people didn't realize that.
Right.
A lot of people didn't realize that Cowboys from Hell was their fifth album, and a lot of people also didn't realize that Philip Anselmo was actually in the group on the album before it, which was their last hair metal band. Their last hair metal album. So
it was called power metal. So it's kind of like I think they were trying to hint that they were changing sounds a little.
Maybe. So. Yeah. So Philip Anselmo replaced Terry Glaze on the fourth album. And then like we've talked about before, Pantera 2.0 started with Cowboys from Hell, and then they became the Pantera that literally fucking ruled the world for about 5-6 years. But I actually kind of always wondered about that myself, Victor. So that's a great question, because at one point in time, not too long ago, I actually had Pantera's entire discography on my phone, and I'm talking about the whole thing. I'm talking all the way from 1983 all the way up through Reinventing the Steel. I had the entire discography on my phone at one point. So the funny thing is, you can still find. You can still find the glam metal Pantera. You can still find it. It's out there. It hasn't been like erased or anything. It's not gone. So I mean, it's still out there to be found.
I think what he's saying, if you wanted to stream it, you're not going to find it on Pandora or Spotify or anything like that, though. I think that's kind of what he was talking about.
Well, that's true. But to answer the question a little more specifically, I guess I was I know I was rambling a little, but to answer the question, I think a little more directly, I've always wondered, and I could have looked, and I don't know why I haven't. Maybe we should now that you posed the question. I always wondered if it was like a label thing. I don't necessarily think.
Could have been.
I don't necessarily think that like Vinny and Dime and Rex and to a lesser extent Phil, because obviously he only came to the band at the tail end of that phase of the band. I highly doubt that Vinny and Dime especially would have been ashamed of the glam era, because I mean, that's what Vinny and Dime are very well documented fans of Kiss, and I mean Kiss was a little glam and over the top, and I mean they had their disco phase, and I mean they had their Kiss had their phase.
And Paul, I'll tell you right now, he hates singing those songs too. So.
Yeah, but I mean, they still
do them. But.
Yeah, they went through their phase. So I don't necessarily think that Vinny and Dime would have ever said that they were ashamed of how Pantera started. So
he did say something. He did say something about the glam metal. Pantera is a collectible item and it's expensive on Discogs. I want to say I've seen some of that stuff on eBay that wasn't as bad. So. I mean, it was still more expensive than buying a CD, $15, $20 CD. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, like I said, you're getting a collectible item that not a lot of copies out there anymore. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, being able to find physical copies, I'm sure you're gonna pay through the nose.
Oh yeah, especially with them being dead. So I mean, that's probably, I would say that would probably be more why they're expensive than the fact that it's glam metal Pantera, but.
Yeah, and you're right. Jason. It's a shame that you can't listen to those other albums on Spotify. I think it's kind of that. I don't know, and I don't know why that would be. I just wonder.
Well, I mean, like you said, it could be a label. Could be a label thing. I mean, it very well could be.
It has to be. It almost has to be. It almost has to be. So, but Victor, man, that actually is a great question. I may actually take some time to kind of look into that, because that would be interesting to know why that is the case. Because, you would figure, especially like Jason just said, obviously, Pantera, as everyone knows it, is no more. The quote unquote reunion, obviously isn't going to be the exact same thing. So, you would think that, especially if it is a label thing, you would think that initial label, especially with the announcement that has been made with Pantera going back out and headlining these festivals and stuff like that, and that there's gonna be a full-fledged tour. There's gonna be. So they just haven't announced it yet. So I mean, they're gonna get something. They're gonna get something put together. They're gonna go around and they're gonna tour. And it's gonna be huge. But
so I was reading that about the glam metal phase, and they were saying that they were looking for a different sound because they made 3 albums and they didn't have much success from the albums. So
that does, that still doesn't mean that there wasn't quality music on there. Maybe it just hadn't. It just hadn't really. Hadn't really resonated,
so I think the thing is, like we talked about this before, is I think that the glam metal era was just so saturated, and it was.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, at some point, it just like every band sounded like the same. Unless you were a Warrant or Poison or something like that, you didn't have a chance in hell of doing it. You had a lot of great bands like Danger, Bang Tango, a lot of Tora Tora. They were more bluesy type bands. You know what I mean? They weren't really. I don't think they were really more glam metal. They were just long haired, bluesy rock type bands like Great White that kind of got through into that category that probably shouldn't have been. And I think
faster.
Just like today, we have, we talked about this a while back. There was like 17 subgenres of metal and probably growing because, with Rick from Extinction AD talking about that people are mashing up, other stuff together. And so, I mean, it's going to just create more subgenres, which is great. I mean, it creates different sounds, different, stuff. But I don't think
it's a double-edged sword, though.
Right. It is. But I think they didn't do that then in the 80s because, it was all about, I grew up as a teenager in that era. So it was kind of like, put on Every Rose Has Its Thorn to get the girl. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a girls fell all over that stuff, and you use that as a tool to get dates. And I think once that kind of phase kind of went away, it was just kind of like swept under the rug. And like I said, the glam metal era didn't really last that long anyway.
Not really,
it was probably like like 84 to 92, maybe somewhere around there. So it probably wasn't even 10 years. So
yeah, I don't think it was.
Grunge was even shorter than that. So it was kind of, grunge kind of came along, and like the greatest thing about that is like people say, "Oh, well, grunge killed glam metal." No, glam metal killed glam metal because they started sounding the same. It's like you couldn't tell what band was what. you know, by the time bands like Trickster came out, it was at the tail end of glam metal, and nobody cared. So, which was unfortunate because those bands were kind of good. So,
and another thing about like the glam metal, a lot of the bands ended up, because you were talking about Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison, but Poison had more popularity than a lot of the other ones. But you're talking about like some of these other bands like Faster Pussycat and shit like that. Their most popular song was a ballad.
Right.
Really. So a lot of those hair metal bands, they kind of fell into that trap. I mean, they ended up with a hit, but it ended up being a ballad, and they couldn't get any of their more up tempo stuff to really hit.
It is the thing too. It's like you got a band like LA Guns that's still out there performing, and like, you know, they had an album out last year, maybe. I think it was last year, maybe earlier this year.
Relatively recently, yes.
Yeah, so it was really. But I listened to it and I was just like, okay, this sounds like 1992 LA Guns. I mean, it doesn't sound any different. It doesn't sound any different. So I mean, it's like, and I think that's where you're catching people now, is because, you know, and we've talked about this before, as you get into that sound, and, you know, like Disturbed, and people, well, you sound like the same, and then people, they change it, and then people like, well, you don't sound like Disturbed. Well, motherfucker, you just you know. So it's kind of like you're in a win-lose situation. So you just kind of at the point where, fuck it, I'm just going to make what I want to make, and, you know, if you buy it, you buy it. If you don't, you don't. So
and,
you know, unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at. So and I think that's why a lot of these bands are mashing up different stuff. Just like, you know, I talked about that band. Can't remember the name of it now, but we were talking about it a while back. And, it just slipped my mind because I haven't had any sleep. But anyway, I was talking about how they're a bluegrass and thrash metal band, and they call it thrash grass, and it actually sounds pretty damn good. I was like, oh, this is going to sound like shit. And then they started playing. I was like, wow, this is kind of interesting. And then Alice Cooper was even, you know, he was like the judge on the show. He was just like, dude, this is fucking great, you know, because it was different to him, and, you know, he's been around forever. So, So I mean, ain't no telling how much he's listened to, you know, from his stint in the metal and hard rock industry. So,
oh, good God, yeah, he's got, and Alice Cooper's got every bit of 50, pushing 60 years in the industry. So
and still making quality music. So so there you go. It's not the. He's probably one of the few that you can say, well, he didn't really change his sound a lot, you know, but he has, you know, like I said, you're talking 70 years old. You got to play to your strengths at this point. But, you know, it's kind of like the new Ozzy record, which I haven't still feel bad because I haven't listened to all of it yet, because, like I said, there's so much to do with this thing. I can't go back at this point. It's like going backwards is like a feat in itself, trying to go backwards. But that's what I said. By the end of the year, I'm going to have to spend the whole of December going back and getting my stuff together for the end of the year review, because it's kind of like, oh, I missed this. I got to listen to this, and you know, and then I may find something that came out in February that I'm like, oh shit, I can't believe it's, you know, this ain't on my list, you know. So so
especially since we found a.
Oh, right.
I don't remember what point in the year we actually found a new list for the new releases, but
it was Mayish, so it was
So there's no telling. There's no telling how many albums we missed earlier in the year. Uncle Tom's Cabin's
great song.
Uncle Tom's Cabin is a great song, and it's actually kind of funny that you mentioned that, because Uncle Tom's Cabin is going to come up again later in the show.
Oh wow! There you go, segues for days.
Yep. But yeah, so Victor, I hope we answered your question somewhat. But if you know, I may read into that a little more to try to find out exactly what the whole deal is with, you know, why you can't find, you know, phase 1 of Pantera, but phase 2 is everywhere, and like kind of what might have happened.
Well, because that was
switching their sounds. So.
Because their fifth album, which it says, you know, is initially referred to as their official debut album, Cowboys from Hell, it popularized the groove metal genre, which, you know, nobody had ever heard. So I think that's why, because they're actually probably, you know, referred to as the founders of groove metal. So I think that's kind of probably where it lies. It's like you got categorized right there at that point, and nothing else mattered before that. So
But still, that
and I think it's more from a fan standpoint. It's like, well, if the fans aren't going to buy it, then why put it out there that we did it?
But I guess, but at the same time, it's still kind of the same thing. Is like, well, why not play the Ripper Owens style Priest and play only the Halford style Priest? It was still Pantera. It was still Vinny Diamond Rex.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I wonder. Like I say, I don't know if it's a label thing. I don't know if it was just
probably because, like I said, they went through a couple of labels before finally being with Elektra. So I mean,
that's the funny thing is that maybe when they
I don't like when I look at this stuff, the Metal Magic label is not even like operational anymore. So
I was just about to say that maybe it's not available because it's not available.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not out there to be released anymore.
So
it may not be.
So anything with that label is probably not going to be able to be found. So
yeah, Victor, I will dig into this and I'll see if I can find out some more for you. And also want to say good morning, but it wouldn't be accurate. I want to say good evening to our friends in Devil. They just
oh sweet.
They just gave the show a like for today. So shout out to our friends in Devil.
Yeah.
Hope in the UK.
Yeah, hope everything's swimmingly over there in Scotland. So
that's right. Good evening to those gentlemen. But yeah, great question, Victor. Thank you very much. We will look into that some more. Because who doesn't want to know more about Pantera? I don't know.
Well, so you can look up. Like he said, he was looking up Discogs. Well, Metal Magic Records is on Discogs. So
yeah.
So
that
and it says it was Pantera's private record label from '83 to '89. So it wasn't a public record label for one.
There you go.
So there you go.
Yeah, so that may be it.
So all four albums released on that label were disowned by the band. So.
Oh shit! Well, there you go.
Yep.
Okay, so it wasn't technically it was a label thing because the band owned the label and they just decided to distance themselves from it. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, shit. There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for that. So
I guess maybe they were ashamed of their glam metal phase, which kind of surprises me.
Well, I mean, they didn't make any money off of it, so they're just like, why, why put it out there if nobody was buying it then? Why would they buy it now? I guess kind of a thing. I guess.
Well, that may be true, but you and I both know.
Well, now,
now they would,
but the circumstances are different too. It's like you got two of the members aren't with us, so.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, I was kind of.
That's just I'm sure Van Halen's record sales have probably gone up since Eddie died. So.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, every painter got more famous when they died and couldn't make paintings anymore. So it's kind of the same.
That's
thing.
Right. Yeah, and I get tired of people on here like they know something about Mozart and never seen one of their paintings. So.
Right. The audacity.
I know, right?
All right. Okay, moving over to Blabbermouth. Ronnie James Dio's widow and longtime manager Wendy Dio was asked in a new interview with Radio Forest if she still has a lot of souvenirs from the late heavy metal singer that would be of interest to longtime fans. She responded, as transcribed by blabbermouth.net, quote, "I have a lot of stuff that I've kept back for a museum. We're working on a museum right now. We're hoping to open a museum on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. That's in the works," end quote. Referencing the fact that Ronnie's estate in 2018 auctioned off items from the iconic musician, including rock and roll souvenirs, mementos, and a few weird personal possessions, Wendy said, quote, "I had a storage locker full of stuff. It was years and years and years of his stuff there. And I was like, suddenly, what if I pass away? People will just chuck this stuff out. Let's just put it up for auction, sell it, and get the fans or whoever wanted it. Some people bought things. I don't know where it went. A lot of it went to different museums in different countries, but obviously I still have a lot of stuff. I would never part with the original artwork of Dio's Holy Diver album. I have that hanging in my office, and a lot of the gold records I wouldn't part with. And then some of the awards he got and things, some of his stage clothes, those are things I kept, and obviously we'll put them in a museum one day," end quote. Back in September of 2018, Wendy teamed up with Julian's Auctions and offered 666 items from the rock icon's personal collection, including stage props, instruments used over the years, swords, medieval art, and more. The auction took place at Hard Rock Cafe in New York. Fans were able to score some unlikely items, including Dio's 1993 passport. His passport, awesome.
Wow.
The first ever career-spanning documentary on the life and times of Ronnie James Dio will be presented in more than 500 cinemas worldwide by Trafalgar Releasing and BMG for 2 days on Wednesday, September 28th, which was earlier this week, and Sunday, October 2nd, which is tomorrow. So depending on where you are, it's today.
Yeah.
Executive produced by Wendy and fully authorized by the artist's estate, Dio's Dreamers Never Die delves deep into the singer's incredible rise from a 50s doo-wop crooner to his early rock days in Elf and Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow to replacing Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath and finally cementing his rock star status with his own band, Dio. The film incorporates never-before-seen footage and personal photos, as well as offering intimate scenes with his closest peers, family, and friends, among them Wendy, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Glenn Hughes, Vinny Appice, Lita Ford, Rob Halford, Sebastian Bach, Eddie Trunk, and Jack Black, as they bring viewers inside the life of one of rock and roll's true heroes and one of the most beloved figures in rock. And, obviously, last but not least, Ronnie James Dio passed away from stomach cancer on May 16, 2010, at the age of 67. So I do plan on checking out that documentary. I do plan on checking that out. And, if there's anyone in this genre of music who deserves a museum, I would definitely say, Ronnie James would be up there as a candidate.
I mean, we got museums with other people that aren't as well known as Ronnie James Dio. So
yeah. And I just posted the link to this week's playlist up on the screen right there that Jason compiled with a lot of new music from this week's releases and all that good stuff. So leave that up on the screen for a little bit.
Some new releases from never before heard of bands on my part, and then some new releases from bands we have heard of. So a little bit of new of everything in there. So. And then a little bit of spread it out stuff in there too. So but it's got a little bit of everything in it. So
it does. It was actually a pretty great mix of stuff in there.
So while we're talking about this, I kind of had this on my mind for a minute. If something happens going forward and we wind up doing the radio, I'll probably stop doing the list and just try to refer people over to the radio. So
there you go.
So, and it's going to be the same. It's just not going to be on the Spotify list. It's going to be on our radio station. So,
right. Yeah. Well, that makes total sense.
Yeah. It'd be 2 hours of radio. So,
perfect.
And just 2 hours of music and, 3 hours of listening to us. So you get a lot of Metalheads Unite throughout the week. So,
yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, you and as far as I'm concerned, you could never have too much metal. So,
no. All right, so my next one is over from Loudwire. Earlier this year, Iron Maiden's historic Number of the Beast album turned 40 years old, and now the Metal Legends have announced a triple vinyl reissue of the record, which features one big change in the track list, in addition to the inclusion of the Beast over Hammersmith live album. Quote, on this vinyl release, we get the chance to put Total Eclipse in its rightful spot on the album for the first time, says founding bassist Steve Harris, who has long bemoaned Iron Maiden's decision to include Total Eclipse as a B-side to Run to the Hills single, which resulted in the track being left off the full-length album in favor of Gangland. The reason it didn't make it in the first place was that it was all a mad rush when we were finishing the record, and we had to get the Run to the Hill single out before the tour, and we basically had to pick a B-side, and it was between Gangland and Total Eclipse, and we just picked the wrong one, really. So I think Total Eclipse is a stronger song on the album, and it would have been a stronger if it had been on there, Beans Harris. End quote. This also marks the first time Beast over Hammersmith will be available on vinyl. Although the performance was recorded just 2 days before the Number of the Beast came out, it wasn't officially released until 2002 as part of Eddie's archive box set. The triple vinyl release will arrive on November 18th through BMG, and pre-orders can be placed at ironmaiden.inc.2/NOTB40th. So there is that. So
I wonder, that kind of makes me laugh. Obviously there's really no, when a single comes out, there's no A side or B side anymore.
Right.
Because
I used to love that though.
Yeah, well, I mean, albums are available on vinyl, but I mean, there's really not an A side, B side anymore for a single. But back in the day when that was actually the thing to do, I wonder how many times that happened, and I wonder how many good songs, just in general, not by Iron Maiden, but how many good, because you hear all the time, well, we had 15 songs, we knocked it down to 12. I wonder how much good music in general has never seen the light of day. You ever think about that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, Jesus. I mean, we talked last week about that Guns N' Roses box set coming out, where there's like 60 some odd unreleased songs that are coming out on that thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're talking about 5 LPs worth of shit that's never been released. I mean, for Christ's sake. So it just I've always wondered about that, especially when you hear a band say, well, we recorded 20, but we put out 12, or we recorded 15, we put out 10. Okay, well, what happened with the other songs? When are those coming out? And sometimes they never do.
Right.
So, I always wonder about that. But that's funny to me to hear. Steve Harris say that. As like, well, I would have preferred. All of those songs were his, but even he was like, I would have preferred that other song we did up to that one. So it's
right.
It's kind of funny to hear a band member say that about their own work.
I was trying. You brought that up, and it reminded me of a song. I'm trying to find it here.
What band is it by? Is it Iron Maiden?
It's Poison. Actually, they had like it was like one of their best songs too, and it was like a B-side to one of their singles. And I'm just like, yeah, why they never released that? I have no idea. But as far as I know, it never made it to unless they did like a lost, like a lost sessions or something that I don't know about.
Which is entirely possible.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
definitely.
All right. Well, while you keep looking for that, I'm gonna read this next story because it's not super duper long. Staying over at Blabbermouth, award-winning metal burger restaurant Grill 'Em All. There's a heavy metal.
There you go.
There's a heavy metal burger restaurant. I want to go. I want to go. I love hamburgers. Award-winning metal burger restaurant Grill 'Em All in Alhambra, California, has teamed with legendary heavy metal singer Ozzy Osbourne for a special burger. Owner Matthew Chernus and chef Nicole Grasso have created a monster burger fit for the Prince of Darkness. The Ozzy Osbourne burger is topped with house-made chimichurri, garlic aioli, blue cheese, onion frizzle, and fried greens. The monster half-pound burger comes served on a black bun. Just in time for the Halloween season, the burger will make its debut Saturday, October 1st. Hey, that's today. As an added bonus, fans can catch a glimpse of the 25-foot inflatable Ozzy to celebrate the burger's debut. The inflatable has been on a nationwide tour and will make a stop at Grill 'Em All for the burger launch from 11:30 to 4 p.m. on Saturday. Good luck getting one of those burgers. Grill 'Em All is open 11:30 to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Launched in 2009 in Los Angeles, Grill 'Em All offers a startling array of gourmet burgers with themes directly influenced by heavy metal music and pop culture. Quote, we have always been prideful of the fact that we can have our roots firmly planted in the heavy metal world, but the food still appeals to a family of 4 or just a regular person who likes listening to Britney Spears. Chernus told LA Weekly in a 2018 interview, the gimmicks, the puns, the burger names, the attitude, it's all a big part of it, but at the end of the day, it's the burger that's the core of the business, end quote. Regarding how the D. Snyder burger came to be, Chernus said, quote, the D. Snyder was named because when we created our peanut butter and jelly sandwich, we thought it looked like the makeup he would wear. He wore a lot of purple and pink, and we thought the purple jelly looked like him. There wasn't more thought than that. He found out about it and sent us a direct message saying he wanted to drop by the restaurant next time he was in LA. We didn't even think he would show up. He came in, sat at the bar for 2 hours, and ate 3 burgers, including his own. We were freaking out because D. Snyder was eating himself.
Oh my God.
It was a super surreal seeing a legit idol of ours sitting in our little restaurant eating a burger we named after him and loving it, end quote. The Grill 'Em All food truck was the first ever winner of Food Network's The Greatest Food Truck Race, earning them $50,000.
Jesus Christ.
Shit. I love hearing stories like that. And to save time, there's a picture of the burger complete with the black bun right there. There it is.
Wow. That's crazy.
I know. It looks good. It looks good. there have been times on past shows where we've gotten to this segment and we've kind of kicked ourselves for not reading the stories ahead of time because we've ended up kind of like reading stuff like more than once. But this was an instance of where not reading the whole story ahead of time actually paid off, because that shit about Dee Snider, I did not know about that, and that was so fucking funny. Oh, I did not know that was in the story. That was a great anecdote. I fucking love that. So good. Ooh.
Actually, that song that song I was looking for actually did make the album. It was called "Living for the Minute," and it was like a B-side. I think it was a B-side to "Every Rose Has Its Thorn," if I'm not mistaken. It was either that one or "Nothing But a Good Time." I can't remember, but it was like a B-side on the single. I didn't know it was actually on the album. Of course, I haven't listened to that album in probably 20 years. So,
well, you're not alone.
Yeah, and I do actually have that. And if you have the original cover, it's actually worth money, because they actually had to change that after a while. So,
no, what did they have to do? Censor it or something?
Yeah, because they had like the picture of the long tongue on there. Yeah, I think people were offended by it, so they had to cut they put a little strip across it and had like the tongue cut out of the thing. So it was like actually there's like both versions are on the web, on like the web if you want to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually have the original cassette of that, which is crazy. Which is probably worth a couple $100 right now, so which is even crazier. But you're not getting it, so sorry, because I'm a collector. So,
well, no, I mean that's the kind of stuff that you want. It's like when Megadeth released "The World Needs a Hero." There was the original album cover had like a dude laying on the ground, and then like Vic Rattlehead was coming out of his chest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had that version. I had the original cover. And like not long after that came out, people were like, "Oh, that's awfully gruesome," and then they put like a Band-Aid over it.
Yeah, and there's like and then there was a great white record too. I think it may have been Once Bitten, and they actually had a shark bite out of their logo, out of the Great White logo, and then they didn't make many of those copies. I think they did that on purpose though, but it wasn't nothing offensive. Nothing offensive by it. They just did it to make it a collectible piece, but. So if you ever have that,
well, I mean that's all well and good. I don't have a problem with them making a limited edition of something, but I get so sick and tired of people. Usually one fucking uptight person has got to fuck things up for everybody else. Just build a bridge, get over yourself, and fuck off. It's just an album cover. Go check out the album cover to "All Lives Splatter" by Gutsaw and get back to
me. yeah, right. That's a pretty gruesome ass cover.
It's a great album cover.
Yeah, not too keen on the music itself as far as I'm concerned, but like I said, I'm not. I don't speak for everybody. So, but if you're definitely a death metal fan, you should check Gutsaw out. They're actually, I think they would be right up your alley there. So
yeah. And if you're an album art fan like we are, just go check out the album cover. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, because like I said, just because we don't listen to the music at the end of the year, we always pick out the best album art, whether we listen to the album or not. So there's been some great album art this year too. So
well, hell, the one of the CDs you bought at the concert last night, the cover was fucking
yeah.
I mean, goddamn. We talk about a lot of stuff on this show, obviously, and we reference a lot of the stuff we talked about more than once. So I mean, I don't know if that annoys our fans or not, but I know we've talked about cover art more than once, and you will not convince me that another genre has better cover art than ours. You will not do it.
No.
You won't do it.
I may try to like go grab that in a minute just to show it off after I read this story.
That's fine.
Just because. All right, this one over from Loudwire. So Five Finger Death Punch have a way to go before claiming the most number ones on Billboard's mainstream rock chart, but they did just set another record on the chart with their 9th straight chart topper. Yes, you heard that right, 9th straight. The song that gave the band the record was Times Like These, the latest single from their Afterlife album. According to Billboard, the song became their 9th straight #1 on the chart, which is crazy, with a streak that dates back to 2018 when Champagne kicked off the run, and from their album Injustice for None, which that was a great album. In order, the band then followed with When the Seasons Change and their cover of Kenny Wayne Shepherd's Blue on Black, and from the Injustice for None album, and then Inside Out, Living the Dream, A Little Bit Off, and Darkness Settles In from the F8 or Fate album. However how you want to say that. We say Fate, but I've had people say it. Yeah. F8 would be a hell of a tornado, wouldn't it?
Jeez, yeah.
And now the title track and Times Like These from the Afterlife album. So though they've had 9 straight chart toppers, they also hit #1 in the past with their singles Coming Down, Lift Me Up, Battleborn, and Wash It All Away, which gives them 13 chart toppers on the Billboard mainstream rock chart. Shinedown currently holds the record for most #1s on the Billboard chart with 18. As Daylight off their Planet Zero was the last to reach the top. Shinedown also have a consecutive streak of their own with 8 straight chart toppers, now one back from Five Finger Death Punch's record, which is kind of crazy because I actually seen those guys on tour together, both of those. So,
yeah, not for a band that sucks and nobody listens to. So I mean,
yeah, right, yeah, nobody was.
Yeah, nobody. Yeah, no.
So it was kind of funny. Like, did I do that on a show last week? I can't remember if I did it on a show or if I did it, but we were actually talking about that, and I looked at the Nickelback new song, and it's already like hit 1 million in a week. So,
I think you did. I think you did do that on last week.
Okay,
so,
I couldn't remember.
We break balls, here on the show,
but you can't argue. You can't argue with numbers. I mean,
no.
Unfortunately,
yeah. I mean, we make Nickelback jokes on the show just like everybody else. But you can't argue with the numbers. And I mean, if you're not a Five Finger Death Punch fan, man, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, we're not here to tell anybody how to fan. I mean, unless you don't listen to Angelus Apatrida, then you're just wrong. But
and to be honest with I don't like every Five Finger Death Punch song.
Well, no, I don't either. I actually didn't really care for their cover of Blue on Black because I didn't really give a shit about the original song. So.
Yeah, right, and that makes a difference too. Just because I've actually heard a lot of covers and was like, man, I didn't like the original, so the cover's not going to do anything for me. So
right.
So
of course,
hopefully 9 Point never covers a song I don't like. So
right, yeah. Of course, not everyone can do what Devil Driver did and make Sail listenable.
Oh my God, yes, that is true.
Yeah, if you haven't heard Devil Driver's cover of Sail, go check it out.
Yeah, definitely rocked it up a little. So
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Des.
But yeah, I mean, Shinedown's another one of those bands. I mean, they're not metal. I mean, that's kind of like, and that's kind of not like some of Shinedown stuff. They're a great live band, but Brent Smith has a great vocal. I mean, it just like I said, I don't, I don't lean, always on like heavy stuff. Sometimes I get in a mood and I'll go down to like a Shinedown or something, but. I don't run out and buy all their albums or anything.
Yeah,
like I don't have either one of those new albums because I didn't like Five Fingers' new album. So,
right. I will say this about a band like Shinedown. I'm not a fan, but I will say this: anytime a band like a rock band sets some sort of record or tops the charts and knocks off any fucking hip hop garbage. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Yeah. I'm not gonna listen to Shinedown because I'm not a fan. Like I say, that's just me. But if Shinedown knocks off one of these hip hop artists, hell yeah, I'm all about it.
It's just like like we say, like, oh well, Five Fingers sucks or whatever. Then you look at their album sales for I'm sure this last one probably sold millions of records, but I didn't buy the last one because, like I said, it wasn't. I thought it was a little bit off from what a little bit off. There you go. There's a reference there.
I know a little bit. It was a little bit off today. I know. Yeah.
A little bit off from the last record for sure. So
yeah, Fate was good.
Fate was good.
Yeah,
It's,
Fate
you know,
was
it's still like it's still to me like Got Your Six, and you know those albums were like awesome to me. Like those.
Yeah, and they still hold up. They hold up.
Yeah, and then you had the Wrong Side of Heaven, Right Side of Hell, which you know had its ups and downs because it was a double CD. But And what was so cool about that is when that came out, I didn't like realize it when I bought it until I bought it, and then I'm like, dude, this so reminds me of like the Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 deal, where and I think I think they did it like that too for a reason, because I think that probably was the same for them. Nobody's ever done that before.
Mm-hmm.
That I remember except for Guns N' Roses. Well, I take that back. I guess like probably Kiss, I'm sure done some shit like that back in the day, but as far as I knew growing up, like Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 was like the first that ever come out like a double album like that.
Yeah, the exact
it was
same
all
time,
new songs. And it was all new songs. So which is crazy.
I wish speaking of the righteous side of the wrong side of heaven, the righteous side of hell. I wish somebody would have told them not to cover "Mama Said Knock You Out" too. So
yeah,
it's like no, dude, it's like no. Stop, just stop.
Well,
the funny thing is,
I think that's where they lose people because they do too many covers. You know what I mean? It's like you're not a cover band. Just
no.
You make great music when you do your thing. So just do your thing. So.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing is I love a good cover, but I mean, not all covers are good, So
well, you don't want to cover on every album by the same band either. It's like
that's also true. Someone needs to tell In This Moment to stop doing that too. So.
Yeah.
Not every album needs one.
Which I mean, a lot of bands do it. I mean, Machine Head did too on one of their albums. I mean, it's,
they did.
And Nonpoint does it a lot, but like to
Nonpoint does a hell of a job.
But to Nonpoint's credit, I don't think they've done a bad one. So.
I haven't heard Nonpoint do a bad one. No.
So.
No, I have not. That's actually a good point. Nonpoint has knocked all of their covers out of the park.
Yeah, when they did the When Doves Cry thing, I'm just like, oh man, really? And then I heard it, and I'm just like, dude, this is like such a good twist on that song. And it didn't like change it so much where you didn't recognize it either. So it's kind of like they did just enough mix in there to flavor it to their own liking, and kept the original kind of sound too. It's kind of hard to explain, but.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, they didn't do a note for note cover, but it was faithful enough to where, like you say, you could recognize it. But it was Nonpoint's take on a Prince song. So yeah, I get it. Yeah. It's like it was like when Evil covered Cemetery Gates after they had one of their band members die. And even when Avenged Sevenfold covered Walk, same kind of deal.
Yeah. But and like Nonpoint's actually working on new music now, and I think they put out kind of what they was kind of like asking the fans what they wanted them to cover, because I think they get off on taking the poppy type stuff and meddling it up, but
which is totally fine with me.
So, yeah, but
totally.
Because I was looking at the list and I'm like, but I think one of the I was trying to remember one of the songs on there.
Oh no, Victor, you did not just ask that.
I plead the fifth.
I was about to say, do you really want to know?
Plead the fifth.
Yeah, I don't, man.
Well, my opinion, and I'm sure Chris, I think Chris echoes this, is we weren't Led Zeppelin fans. So,
right.
I mean, we were at some point. I was at some point. Until it got where it was like a monotonous, like every time you turned the radio on, there was a Led Zeppelin song. Like, come on, dude! Like, seriously? Like, there's.
Yeah,
This is 1992. We don't need to hear Led Zeppelin like every 5 minutes.
Yeah. I've said on more than one occasion that I'm not a Led Zeppelin fan. Yeah. I've always thought, but again, this is one of those instances, and we've said it before, like when we were talking about Nickelback. I am not a fan, but I will not and can't. I won't because you can't. I will not dispute the numbers that they've put out. You know,
Right, you
you
can't.
can't argue with numbers. But from a personal standpoint, I've never been a Zeppelin fan. I've always thought they were overrated, and I don't like Greta Van Fleet either. But they do. You are right, Victor. They absolutely do have the Led Zeppelins. They do have the Led Zeppelin style.
And I think that's cool, like that, because we talked about this before. It's like you have like bands out there, like we talked about Devil sounding so much like a Avenged Sevenfold, but like I said, how many bands sound like a Avenged Sevenfold? Like, not many. They do. I don't know about them. So it's kind of like those things. Like you can't knock the fact that they're carrying on a sound that's been missing.
Right.
And like I said, Greta Van Fleet's carrying a Led Zeppelin sound on that's probably hasn't been carried on for 20 plus years because Led Zeppelin hasn't done anything in so long.
Yeah.
But
there's another band that's had a massive beef with each other, yet they didn't do anything musically, and they shouldn't have. You know, same thing with that band Chaosium. They sound exactly like Korn. You know, Korn is getting Korn is getting a little long. Korn is getting a little long in the tooth, and they're not. You know, no band is going to be around forever, but Korn is. Korn is late in their career. So if you got another band that's kind of got that same sound, whether it's intentional or not, it's not necessarily a bad thing that a sound as unique as Korn, as unique as Avenged Sevenfold, as unique as as unique as Led Zeppelin. I'm not gonna shit talk Led Zeppelin a whole lot. Like I say, I'm not a fan, but like I say, the legacy they have, the amount of albums that they've sold, the popularity that they do have. I mean, I'm not going to sully their legacy just because I'm not a fan. I'm not.
I mean, and we know, and we know that if it wasn't,
I'm still a realist,
Yeah, and we know if it wasn't for Led Zeppelin, we wouldn't have bands like Godsmack and Dokken and all those bands that came along after them.
No telling how many bands. So like I say,
there's a lot of it, and I'm sure if you asked any bands on there, that a lot of those bands are influenced by Led Zeppelin in some way.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that's just one man's opinion. So
I'm just waiting on my cue so I can come out and go, ooh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, hell.
So just so you know, if somebody else, I have to sing the rest of the stuff, but I'll come in with the ooh, yeah, yeah. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, we talk about segues for days here on the show, and with that, over at blabbermouth.net, Metallica will celebrate the life, legacy, and achievements of Megaforce Records founding Johnny Z Zazula and his wife Marcia Zazula with a special show at Hard Rock Live at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida on Sunday, November 6th. Says Metallica, quote, Johnny gave us our first break in New York, released our first albums on his Megaforce Records label, and put us out on the road for our first real tour. With Marcia by his side, Johnny was a mentor, a manager, a label head, and a father figure to us all. We would not be where we are today without the two of them. Sadly, we recently lost both Johnny and Marcia just a little more than a year apart. We'll be cooking up a special set list for you full of songs from our days with Johnny and Marcia at Megaforce. Our main touring partner from that time, Raven, will be joining us to add to the celebration and bring back the memories, end quote. Tickets for the 7,000-seat theater show will be available starting 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Friday, September 30th, so tickets are already on sale. If you're a member of Metallica's fan club, you will have early access beginning Wednesday, September 28th. I will be fucking amazed if there are any seats available for that as I'm reading this. 7,000 seat theater. I would be shocked if that show isn't already sold out. But check it out. See if some tickets are still available, especially if you're in South Florida. Let's see. A portion of the proceeds from this show will be donated in Johnny and Marcia's name to Music Cares, a safety net supporting the health and welfare of the music community, offering preventive, emergency, and recovery programs to musicians and industry professionals. Additionally, All Within My Hands will once again be supporting Feeding South Florida with a donation following the show. Johnny Z died in February at the age of 69. Johnny died of complications of the rare neuropathic disorder, chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, CIPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, and osteopenia, his family said. Marsha passed away of cancer in January of last year. Megaforce is widely credited for launching the career of Metallica by releasing the band's first two albums, 1983's Kill 'Em All and 1984's Ride the Lightning, before Metallica landed a major label deal with Elektra. Could you imagine Metallica going from Megaforce to Elektra, and Elektra going, yeah, you can't put out those first two albums anymore? How fucked up would that be? Megaforce's roster has also included such artists as, wait for it, Anthrax, Testament, Overkill, Ace Frehley, Ministry, King's X, Stormtroopers of Death, and the aforementioned Raven. I mean, Jesus Christ, man! You talk about from like a fledgling little mom and pop record label to have those those artists in your stable at one point or another. Jesus Christ! You talk about influence. I mean, my God, the Zazulas are, they were definitely synonymous with heavy metal back then, but I mean, they'll always have a legacy, and deservedly so.
Is both of them passed away now?
Yes,
that's what I thought. Yeah,
they are both. Yeah. They have both passed on. So
yeah, that kind of sucks. But
it does suck. But that'll be and Metallica, and that is going to be probably as fitting a tribute to those two as probably could be.
Because if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be no Metallica. So
that's exactly what they said. It's exactly what they said.
Or some of those other bands either. So
right, who knows if or when Testament or Anthrax or Overkill even gets this. I'm sure they would have been discovered, but who knows when that could have been. And sticking with Metallica, I'm going to piggyback off that one. According to still over at Blabbermouth, according to Cigar Aficionado, Metallica frontman James Hetfield has partnered with cigar maker Jonathan Drew and blackened distiller Rob Dietrich on a new cigar brand called Blackened Cigars M81 by Drew Estate. The all Maduro handmade cigars will come in 4 sizes, and they will begin shipping to retailers in December. Quote, "It is really a fun social thing for me, a fellowship, to have a few buddies sit around with a few sticks," says Hetfield. "My buddy Rob Dietrich, Blackened's master distiller, and I frequently enjoy cigars together, and he introduced me to Jonathan from Drew Estate. The three of us connected and shared each other's vision and story about where we've been, what we like to see, and what is important to us now, and we all came up with what a blackened M81 cigar would look like and taste like. I love the Maduro leaf, and I'm super excited for everyone to try this," end quote. About 2 years of sampling and smoking, they ended up with a brand made entirely from Maduro leaves. The wrapper is Mexican San Andres, the binder is Connecticut broadleaf, and the filler is a combination of broadleaf grown in Nicaragua and Pennsylvania. Made in Nicaragua, the cigars come in 4 sizes, packed 20 to the box. Robusto, 5 inches long by 50 ring gauge, Toro, 6 by 52, Corona Doble, 7 by 50, and Corona, 5 by 43. Suggested retail price ranges from $9.15 per cigar for the Corona to $10.35 per cigar for the Corona Doble. And then it just talks about when James was born and all that other stuff. So we basically know all that shit by now. So I'm not exactly of course I'm not a cigar guy at all. I've never smoked in my life, so I don't know exactly what all some of those numbers mean.
I don't know enough about it for that, but
but I do know, like my brother and my best, and our best friend, we kind of, they enjoy a cigar every now and then, so this might be something that's kind of up their alley. So but I know a lot of people out there, they enjoy a good cigar every now and then. So there you go. Any cigar aficionado metalheads out there, you check out one that Metallica made. So
your best friend, huh? I see how this is.
I got a bunch of best friends, man.
I'm just fucking. It's so funny. It's like so me and Chris met each other through a mutual friend that we had, and so it's so funny. Like, me and Chris still hang out, and we don't ever see him anymore. So it's just
right. I know. Yeah.
I know. So it's kind of funny how those things work out. So, this is that app.
And we've got an inside joke about about said friend that we won't share on here.
Anyway, so yeah, one of these album covers we were talking about earlier was from Offensive. It was the album Inhabitants of Purgatory. And, this is kind of what it looks like here. So.
Oh, that's a badass album cover.
So, yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I mean, these weren't bad either. The Hidden Intent, Fear, Prey, Demise was kind of a pretty cool one too. Not as cool as the new album, but with Crocodile Dundee on it.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that real quick.
I didn't buy that one. I bought the other two, so
yeah.
You like it? I like it a lot. I would share some of that.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Yeah, man, please do. Like we're always good with learning. Listening to new stuff. So
yeah, hang on a second. All right, let's see. Yeah, here it is.
It's like hilarious as hell, but especially because they're from Australia, I think. So,
they definitely leaned into it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got going on here. All right, let's see. All right, let's see. I'm gonna share the screen here. Share the screen, and share the window here. All right, so yeah, there you got it right there.
Oh man.
Yeah, see, there you go. I mean, you literally have
koala bears and everything.
Yeah, these
crocodiles.
This rabid koala bear.
Yeah.
Right here. You got Crocodile Dundee with a battle vest on. He's got a freaking, I don't know what kind of lager that is, and then he's riding a crocodile.
So that's funny as shit. But, don't let those covers fool you, man. Those guys are pretty hardcore.
Oh yeah, yeah, they are. Yeah,
but it's cool.
Don't get me wrong.
It's cool to see them have a little fun with it, though.
I was about to say, I mean, they do have a great sense of humor. They were super funny to talk to, but yeah, I mean, again, you're not gonna be able to top some of these album covers. Good shit.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I'll kick over to. I guess I'm still with Loudwire. So,
all right, this rockin' heavy. Oh, okay. So what playlist is this, Victor, that I just posted up on the screen? Which one is this?
He said it has some Peruvian metal on it, so.
Oh, okay. All right, I see his comment there. I see it now. Okay.
Yeah, his nephew's band Knuckles reviewed some.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, definitely got that link posted up on the screen there for you guys. We'll leave that up for a little bit. You can copy and paste that over into Spotify and check some of that out. And we will do the same, Victor. Thank you. All right, so I do believe
that is actually saved in my clipboard there. So
yeah, that is actually all of my current events.
Oh, are you serious? I still got two more.
Okay. Well, I did read two back to back. So.
Oh wow! Wait a minute. Maybe it's more than that.
Okay, there's a.
Oh, it's not. Just three more total. All right, this is. You got another one popped up too.
Yeah, he's got a second one that popped up. I'll put the second one that popped up, Victor, here in a little bit. I'm going to leave the first one up on the screen for a little bit for everybody. I'll pop that second link up there on the screen here just a little bit.
This one's over from Loudwire, and you can sign me up for the fucking soundtrack to this. So Slayer, Meshuggah, Silosis, and Killer Be Killed are among the metal bands whose songs can be heard in the new Saints Row, the 2022 action-adventure video game reboot that arrived last month. The tunes are available on the in-game radio station Nuclear Blast, which is apparently curated by the Germany-based extreme metal label of the same name. The bands on the channel are all current and former Nuclear Blast artists. Slayer's Repentless, Meshuggah's Bleed, Silosis, Worship Decay, and Killer Be Killed's Destructing Self-Destruction appear on the station as noted at Video Game Soundtracks Wiki. Those aren't the only bands involved, except Zombie Apocalypse, Cataclysms Underneath the Scars, In Flames Cloud Connected, Heathen's Empire of the Blind, Benediction Stormcrow, and Hatebreed's Weight of the False Seth can also be heard.
Jesus.
Yeah.
My God.
Saints Row, which reboots the popular video game series after 2013, Saints Row 4 is currently available on Microsoft Windows, Sony's PlayStation 4 and 5, and Microsoft's Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S, and Google Stadia. A synopsis for the new Saints Row game says, as the future boss with Nina, Kevin, and Eli by your side, you'll form the Saints and take on Los Panteros, the Idols, and Marshall as you build your empire across the streets of Santo Eliso and battle for control of the city. Ultimately, Saints Row is the story of a startup company. It's just that the business the Saints are in happen to be crime. It continues experience the biggest and best Saints Row playground ever created. The unique, sprawling world of Santo Eliso is the backdrop for a wild, larger-than-life sandbox of thrilling side hustles, criminal ventures, and blockbuster missions. As you shoot, drive, and wingsuit your way through the top. So, man, that soundtrack, dude, like I'd buy a CD of that shit in a heartbeat.
I would too. I would too. Holy shit, man! That's a damn good playlist.
Yeah. So this one over from Metal Injection is kind of a shorter one too. Slipknot put out their debut self-titled album on Roadrunner in 1999 and will wrap up their career with the label Friday, which was yesterday, with their latest release, The End So Far. Maybe that is, I didn't think about it, but that's probably why they named the record that.
Maybe.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. So,
it would be a great tie-in for sure.
Yeah. In an interview with Zane Lowe on Apple Music One, Slipknot vocalist Corey Taylor discussed the split with the label, saying they're not even a shadow of what it used to be. Taylor also adds that everyone that the band used to work with is gone now, some of which were fired in a very unceremonious ways. So I think it's safe to say that Slipknot isn't exactly bummed to be an independent band right now. I mean, it's cool because at this point we could do whatever. If we wanted to, we could do a throwback album where we would just get in a room and write it live and figure it out. We could turn around and create something really complex and dark. I mean, we could do a double concept album with a movie wrapped around it and make something like that. So for me, it's really about what do we want to do? What keeps us at this point. We don't need to come back to this until we really want to. Contractually, we can just say we can do one-offs for the rest of our career. Obviously, some of us in the band have, outside of Slipknot, allow us time to have the audience go, you know what? It's about time for a Slipknot album. So we have ways that naturally alleviate the weight and alleviate the pressure of having to go back to back if we don't want to. Let's face it, Roadrunner is not what it used to be. It's not even a shadow of what it used to be, so there's no real urgency for us to stick with them to do anything. And because of all of the people that we started with are all gone and were fired very unceremoniously to the way to the point where the last couple of years, so we can do whatever we want to and not be beholden to anybody. I mean, what it means, we don't know. Does that mean that no more doors open, or does that mean that doors closed because we're not a part of the system anymore, and not that we really give a shit about being a part of the system, but at the same time it helps. But so I mean, it just comes down to who wants to be a part of the next Slipknot thing. It's just that way right now. So that's a longevity with that record label. I mean, that's 22 years with the same record labels. That's probably pretty much unheard of anymore. But
yeah.
And it's sad to hear that they're not as good as they used to be. Which is, Roadrunner used to be a big label. So if they're losing bands like Slipknot, then who's going to follow? After that. So I mean, it could very well spell trouble for that outfit there if they don't get their shit together. So
well, I mean, it kind of sounds like Roadrunner Records may be their own worst enemy, and I think that honestly, I think a lot of record labels have kind of done that to themselves. Not seeing the writing on the wall as far as like streaming and all this stuff. But I mean, that's that is completely kind of like a completely separate thing. But I think Slipknot's going to be just fine now that they're
Oh
around.
yeah, I mean, like he said, they're not going to hurt for anything. Because,
No, they won't.
And I think it is cool that you can kind of do what you want to do and not worry about it.
Have carte blanche to call your own shots and shit like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This one was over at Blabbermouth. West Virginia-based Screaming Butterfly Entertainment has announced a 2023 release for their upcoming feature-length documentary film, This Was My Life, the story of Nick Menza, an uncensored documentary focusing on the late Megadeth drummer Nick Menza's life, which is something else I'll watch. Executive producer, director, and editor Holly Mullahan from the Screaming Butterfly Entertainment stated in a video that can be seen there in the hyperlink. We've been working really, really hard, traveling across the country, getting interviews out in LA, Seattle, and Florida, collecting all the awesome stories about Nick that I can't wait to share with all of you. Right now, we're in post-production phase, editing interviews, putting all the topics together. She added, I'm trying to make a complete film, and it's going along very well. There's a lot of footage and a lot of great stories that will be very interesting to hear. I'm excited to make this film for the Menza family and to all his fans. Look for the complete film at the beginning of the year sometime. You can go to thiswasmylifefilm.com for more information, so stay tuned. Ellison previously stated about his involvement with the film. The making of the Nick Menza documentary has been such a joy for all of us, like a sort of mega family reunion where we shared stories, laughs, and even a few tears around Nick and what he meant to so many of us. I think this film and soundtrack will touch the hearts of fans and viewers in the same way as we remember his larger-than-life character behind the drum kit, but also his lovable charm and warmth that made him the beloved one of a treasured musical legacy. The Menza family stated, "We are excited for the fans to see the life Nick lived before, during, and after Megadeth. It was quite the journey. Stay tuned for the epic documentary. As Nick would say, it's going to be rad." Menza's longtime personal manager, Robert Bolger, said Nick loved his fans and always said none of this would have been possible without the fans. I really think Nick's fans will enjoy this journey through his life. This Was My Life will be the first ever film to memorialize Menza's legacy and celebrate his life exactly how it was. It is described in a press release as unflinching exploration into the life of one of the most successful thrash metal drummers of all time, authorized by the Menza family, from his childhood all the way through to the end of his life, including a true blow-by-blow account for the repeated failed attempts of the classic Rust in Peace lineup. This Was My Life will feature rare and never-before-seen photos and video footage from Nick's archived VHS tape collection, personally filmed by Menza himself through 88 through 91. Included will be exclusive content showcasing Nick working at a studio, personal home movies, casual time, and party time with his fellow band members, as well as other well-known artists of the era that Nick toured with. Ellison signed on as a co-producer of the film and also provides narration to guide the viewer through the exploration of the late drummer's life and musical career. Late in the evening of May 21, 2016, Nick collapsed behind his drum kit, suffering a heart attack during a concert with Chris Poland and Robertino Pagliari in the band Ohm at the Baked Potato in Studio City, California, and was pronounced DOA at the hospital. The Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner coroner said Menza died of hypertensive and arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease. I always there's so many arterio words you have to look at it. I've been in the medical field for a while, so I'm like, Menza rightfully earned his place in heavy metal's fiercest drummer during Megadeth's 10-year peak at the top. The highlight of his career, Nick said, was playing Rock in Rio before more than 100,000 people. The lowest point was being fired by Megadeth's main man, Dave Mustaine, while he was still in a hospital bed after surgery to remove what doctors feared was a cancerous growth. So, man, Dave was pretty heartless.
That's kind of cold, Dave.
Yeah. You know, Dave's kind of controlling when it comes to Megadeth. So.
Yeah, a little bit.
And this is my last one here because it kind of leads into hitting the road. So
nice.
Merciful Fate will play their first North American tour in 23 years, starting late next month. But one of the group's members will be sitting out the run. Bassist Joey Vera has revealed that a touring conflict has forced him to make the decision to bow out of Merciful Fate's reunion run, but the band has already moved quickly to find his replacement. In a message posted to both his own and Merciful Fate's Instagram accounts, Vera revealed that he had previously committed to an Armored Saint tour supporting Wasp, and it has been delayed due to the pandemic. With Merciful Fate receiving a chance to tour this fall in the U.S., that led to the tours overlapping and with Vera having to choose between the two, which is unfortunate because I would prefer to, when you do a reunion tour, you want to see the original lineup. But Vera was initially meant to fill in for ailing Merciful Fate bassist Timmy Hansen, who had been battling cancer. Well, there you go. So, but then became their full-time bassist after Hansen's death in 2019. The band's reunion tour got underway in Hanover, Germany in the June of this year, with the group playing their first live show since 1999. I'm not a big Merciful Fate fan, so I didn't know that. But Vera's full statement on his exit of the Merciful Fate tour can be read here. My dear friends, as some of you have done the math and checked your calendars, you may have noticed that it appears as though I've scheduled myself to be on two tours at the same time this fall. As most of you know, I have been promoting the tour for Armored Saint supporting Wasp for over a year now, a tour I committed to in 2021, and never you fret, I'm still standing by that commitment. No thanks to the result of COVID affecting nearly every aspect of the touring industry, tour schedules have since been canceled and moved to different times of the year. And so Merciful Fate had received a touring opportunity recently that was impossible to turn down. Unfortunately, this schedule conflicts with my tour in the fall with Armored Saint. So it pains me to a great deal that I could not be in two places at once, because if I could, I most certainly would. Over the past 3 months, I have been welcomed into the Merciful Fate family with open arms, and this includes all of the fans. I have made new lifelong friends and have had the most amazing time this summer performing with these great musicians on stage and, of course, for you, the fans. These Merciful Fate shows have been some of the most incredible gigs I've ever been a part of, ever. I have been asked to be a full member of Merciful Fate band for touring and recording their next record, and I have accepted. However, I regretfully have to set out this upcoming tour in the fall in the U.S. and South America. Since the show must go on, I hope you will welcome my stand-in bassist for the fall tour, Becky Baldwin, with open arms, who also plans to play the Mercy music with honor and respect to our fallen brother Tim Hansen, just as I have tried to do. I know many of you have seen clips on YouTube, but I promise you this is a show you will have to see in person to believe it. Prepare yourself to be completely blown away. I will miss my brothers and crew in Merciful Fate this fall, but I'm also looking forward very much to playing with my bandmates in Armored Saint again, and of course seeing all of you on that tour. I will see you down front. In closing, if I may borrow King Diamond's sign off, stay heavy. So they kind of gotten it worked out. So he wasn't an original member. That was kind of I didn't know that, so that was kind of because you couldn't get the original member if he ain't there. So
that's true.
kind of going to be like a Pantera reunion type thing. So I guess
a little bit.
Yeah. So I guess Merciful Fate shouldn't go out and do a tour then. Just say,
if you can't get all four. Of course, the funny thing is Pantera's not going out and getting Terry Glaze either. So I mean,
well, that's true. Yeah.
Victor, I will say this. I put all 5 of your Spotify playlist links up at various intervals. I will say this. I haven't listened to any of them yet, but if the stuff you posted is the light stuff, and you're gonna post the real extreme stuff later,
no,
I am intrigued.
Yeah, right.
But that is very cool that one of your old schoolmates has a band. So I'm looking forward to hearing that too. So
yeah,
that'll be interesting. So look forward to that.
And then I'm gonna kick into hitting the road with that story. So
All
I
right.
only got 2 here. So I know you probably got a little bit more than that. So.
I don't have a super long list this week, probably about a page and a half, but
Okay.
that's fine.
So the one that really got stuck out to me was Pyre Metal Legends Halloween will be returning to North America in 2023 on tour with special guest Hammerfall, which that's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah.
That's going to kick off on May 13th in Dallas, Texas at the factory and end on June 3rd in San Francisco, California in the Warfield. It's kind of crazy. We're already talking about mid 2023
Mid
tours.
20, I know.
Yeah, and then I'm going to come right back with a tour in November, December. So,
Mm-hmm.
then the next one I had was Undeath, 200 stab wounds, enforced, and phobophilic. They announced a North American tour that kicks off on November 11th in Cambridge, Massachusetts at the Sonia and ends on December 17th in Toronto, Ontario, Canada at the Velvet Underground. So that was, I wish that Halloween tour would come somewhere around.
I know.
I would probably check that out, man.
Well, you know how big of a Hammerfall fan I am too. So,
well, I'm a big Halloween fan, so it's kind of able to actually work out. So,
man, that's gonna be a great show.
I've been following Halloween since I won out, so
yeah,
it's been a pretty good following there. So.
Yeah. All right. As far as my contribution to the Hitting the Road segment this week, we start off over at the PRP like always. We're going to start off with Insight. They're going out on tour, obviously, starting November 17th in Louisville, Kentucky at Germantown, finishing December 18th in Lincoln, Nebraska at the 1867 bar. No national date on that tour. Then we have Sleep Token and No Flame going on a European tour in 2023 in January, starting January 17th in Birmingham, UK at the O2 Academy, finishing January 22nd, 2023 in Brixton, UK, also at the O2 Academy. And that's one thing I've noticed. They have multiple O2 Academies over there in the UK. So it's not the same place, even though it's the same name. So I guess the O2 Academy has like franchises over there. Then let's see, we have Upon a Burning Body is going to be replacing Born of Osiris on In Flames' North America tour with Darkest Hour, Hammerhead, and No Explanation has been provided for the reason for the lineup change. Yeah, I know. But
not a bad replacement, that's for damn sure.
That's true. That tour is good. That tour is starting October 17th in Tampa, Florida at Janus Live and ending October 28th in Reading, Pennsylvania at Reverb. And Darkest Hour will actually not be at that show at the end of the tour. So that tour is actually coming up relatively soon. No Nashville date there.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah. Then Like Moths to Flames and Cane Hill are going on a mini tour at the end of October, starting October 27th in Indianapolis, Indiana at the Hoosier Dome and finishing November 1st in Omaha, Nebraska at the Waiting Room. And that will be Like Moths to Flames only. No Nashville date for that tour. Then we have Attack going out with Across the Whitewater Tower and Revision Revised starting October 7th in Flint, Michigan at the Machine Shop. Finishing October 10th in Oklahoma City at 89th Street. Then they will be with Outline and Color, Conquer Divide, and Across the Whitewater Tower starting October 29th in Joliet, Illinois at the Forge, finishing November 4th in Cleveland, Ohio at the Agora Ballroom. No Nashville date with either of those lineups. Then Animals as Leaders is going to Europe and the UK with the opening acts to be announced starting January 10th, 2023 in Birmingham, UK at The Mill, finishing January 22nd in Hamburg, Germany at Ubel and Dangerous. I hope all of our German fans, I hope I said that right. Then the last one I have is Flesh God Apocalypse, Omnium Gatherum, and WEB are going on a European and UK tour with 2 more bands yet to be announced. That tour
Good God.
I know. It's going to be a big one. That tour starts January 13th in Leeuwarden, Netherlands at Nieuwshorn, finishing January 29th in Switzerland. The venue all it says is that it's going to be in Switzerland, but the city in Switzerland and the venue have yet to be announced. I don't know how they work that out. We picked the country, we just don't know the city or the building yet. So
we're gonna find it as we go. We'll let you know day of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
So, but that's hitting the road for the 24th through the 30th. And Victor, in response to your post there, what I posted is heavy metal, the extreme, black, or death metal I have to look for. Because my Spotify lists are humongous. Okay, that's fine, Victor. No problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Take your time. And you know, even if you find them and post them next week, that's totally fine too. Thanks for sharing those. Yep, no problem. Oh, that was our response. You're right. You're right. You're right. The icons are. You're right. The icons are almost the same. That's true.
Yeah. So it's ours is a little bit darker. So
yeah. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that. But yeah, the icons are similar.
It's actually pretty funny, honestly.
Yeah, but yeah, so we look forward to checking those out, Victor. But yeah, that's hitting the road for this week. So
all right. So going to a little bit of history here. I actually got a pretty good list this week. So September was a
nice,
good time for some metal acts. This week in metal history, September 24th through October, or 25th through October 1st, sorry. September 25th, 2013, Kurt Cobain's childhood home in Aberdeen, Washington went on the market. Cobain's mother, Wendy O'Connor, and sister, Kim Cobain, put up for sale the East 1st Street real estate, where he was raised for $500,000 in hopes of connecting with someone who would turn it into a museum. Which is, wow, why don't you just turn it into me? I don't understand that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whatever. Because they don't want the headache of dealing with it.
They probably don't.
But I mean, if that's what you wanted it to do, then I don't, I mean, if you have a purpose for selling the property, then, I don't get that. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems odd.
Yeah. So did they? I wonder if they sold it anyway, and then the person didn't do anything with it. I guess that would be a follow up there. So
yeah.
September 25th in 2000, Ozzy Osbourne formally requested that Black Sabbath be removed from the nomination list for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, calling the inclusion meaningless. Osbourne went on to say, "Let's face it, Black Sabbath have never been media darlings. We're a people's band, and that suits us just fine." So that's
I think that we've talked about that before. I think that's kind of at this point it's like a growing consensus among.
It is, yeah. I was like Iron Maiden could care less if they ever get in. So
yeah, so I think that's more and more bands are kind of feeling that way.
To me, yes, it's an honor, but in another sense, it's like I don't need a Hall of Fame ceremony to tell me what my career meant. So
right, exactly.
So
Exactly.
Especially a joke as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has become. So
agreed.
Maybe you should listen more to Adam Copeland's on the chair there. So.
Yeah.
I can imagine how pissed he is just to be involved in that and can't get, a lot of these acts that he thinks should be on there.
Mm-hmm. I don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, I think it needs to be, so this is my thing. If you're going to do it the way you're going to do it, it needs to be a representative of every genre in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It doesn't need to be, 4 R&B singers, a rapper, and 1 rock singer. You're a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a reason. It's not. And I've said this 100 times. You need to just change it to the Music Hall of Fame and be done with the bullshit. So
it would create a lot less controversy.
Yeah, because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you are not.
Right.
All right, September 25th, 1992, 2 fans were stabbed and 20 arrests were made after trouble broke out at an Ozzy Osbourne gig in Oklahoma City. The sale of alcohol at the concert was blamed for the incident. No way. Really? They sell alcohol at these events? No.
That's news to me. I didn't know that.
September 25th, 1980, John Bonham, drummer with Led Zeppelin, died at the age of 32 after a heavy drinking session. Bonzo was found dead at guitarist Jimmy Page's house of what was described as asphyxiation after inhaling his own vomit and excessive vodka consumption. 40 shots in 4 hours.
Holy shit. I didn't know that it was that much. I had no idea it was that much.
Yeah. I wonder if he gets to wherever his resting place is and runs into Bon Scott and it's like, yeah, what'd you do? During live sets, his drum solo "Moby Dick" would often last for a half an hour, and regularly featured his use of his bare hands. Wow. 2007, Ludwig issued a limited edition drum kit in Bottom's memory. So that's pretty cool.
Damn.
That's pretty fucking outrageous to be playing it with your bare hands.
I know.
September 26, 2016, Universal, Warner Brothers, Sony, and several other record labels filed a lawsuit against the operators of YouTube/mp3.org, a service that allowed its users to remove audio from videos streamed on YouTube. The court action launched against a German company alleged that tens or even hundreds of millions of tracks are illegally copied and distributed by stream ripping services each month. They asked me if I ever done that. I plead the fifth. So, September 26, 1981, Bruce Dickinson joined UK rock band Iron Maiden. Dickinson had been the vocalist with Samson. So, and of course, as we say, the rest is history. But September 27, 1986, Metallica bassist Cliff Burton was crushed to death after the band's tour bus crashed between Stockholm and Copenhagen during the European tour. Members of the band drew cards for the most comfortable bunk on the tour bus. Burton had won the game with an ace of spades and was asleep when the tour bus ran over a patch of black ice and skidded off the road, which if you ask James Hetfield, they'd never seen any fucking ice. So right. He was thrown through the window of the bus, which fell on top of him. And then I don't know if you've ever heard this part. I've never heard this part of the story before, but when I was looking at this, I seen another story that was linked to this, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I clicked it. And it was talking about they had the bus was so heavy they had to get a crane and stuff in there.
And the bus actually slipped off the crane and landed on him. Yeah,
again. I'm like, holy shit, that's got to be fucking.
I did hear that the crane slipped and the bus actually fell back down on top of him. I did hear that.
So he got crushed by the damn thing twice. Like, man, that's I was only imagine that if James and them were still on the side of the road while all this was going on, that's what I was.
They had to have been.
Yeah, so I mean,
they were out in the middle of nowhere on a road in Sweden. They had to have been there.
And we wonder why James Hetfield has a drinking problem. So,
well, I mean,
I'd be trying to rub that shit out too. Man.
Yeah, that definitely isn't going to help.
That's got to be horrible, dude. Yeah, I never heard the story about where it fell off the thing and hit him again. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up because I didn't know if you knew that. So,
I have.
Shame on you for not never telling.
Oh, it's my fault. Okay.
Then last but not least, October 1st, 2004, the Lord Mayor of Melbourne officially opened AC/DC Lane after the veteran rockers. The Lord Mayor erected the sign to cheers and bagpipes playing the band's song Long Way to the Top. The city of Melbourne had extra copies of the sign made in anticipation of fans stealing them. So
smart
on their part, I guess. So.
Smart.
And then, of course, if you make duplicates, anything, so fans probably wouldn't take it. So,
well, yeah.
So it ain't worth nothing. I got 20 of them.
Yeah. That's true. It's not as rare as you think, fucker.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Well, this week in metal history brought to you by This Day in Metal and Dr. Feelgood and Ms. Hyde on Twitter and Facebook, respectively. Check those guys out over there at those particular websites. For the week of the 25th through today's date, we start off with September 25th, 2006. Rhapsody of Fire releases their 7th studio album, Triumph for Agony, and Evanescence releases their 2nd studio album, The Open Door. September 25th, 2012, Dokken releases their 11th studio album, Broken Bones, and As I Lay Dying releases their 6th studio album, Awakened. September 25th, 1995, Enough Zenuff releases their 5th studio album, Tweaked. September 25th, 2001, King's X releases their 9th studio album, Manic Moonlight, and Mr. Big releases their 6th studio album, Actual Size. September 25th, 2015, Parkway Drive releases their 5th studio album, Ire. Moving ahead to the 26th, September 26, 2011, Pain of Salvation releases their 8th studio album, Road Salt 2. Moving ahead, September 27th, 2004, Rhapsody releases their 6th studio album, Symphony of Enchanted Lands 2, The Dark Secret. And Pain of Salvation releases their 5th studio album, B. September 29th, 2019, Dragon Force releases their 8th studio album, Extreme Power Metal. September 27, 2010, Marty Friedman releases his 9th studio album, Bad DNA. And September 27, 2005, King's X releases their 11th studio album, Ogre Tones. Moving ahead, September 28th, 1999, Creator releases their 9th studio album, Endorama. September 28th, 2007, Nightwish releases their 6th studio album, Dark Passion Play. September 28th, 1994, Rage releases their 8th studio album, 10 Years in Rage, the anniversary album. And September 28th, 1993, Shotgun Messiah releases their 3rd and final studio album, Violent New Breed. Moving ahead, September 29th, 1997, Domine releases their debut studio album, Champion Eternal. September 29th, 2009, Alice in Chains released their 4th studio album, Black Gives Way to Blue, which debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200. Moving ahead, September 30th, 2016, Epica releases their 7th studio album, The Holographic Principle, and The Agonist releases their 5th studio album, 5, fitting. September 30th, 2014, Kiss and Dynamite releases their 4th studio album, Megalomania, and Mr. Big releases their 8th studio album, The Stories We Could Tell. September 30th, 2013, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts released their 12th studio album, Unvarnished, which peaked at number 47 on the Billboard 200. September 30th, 2008, In This Moment releases their 2nd studio album, The Dream, which debuted at number 73 on the Billboard 200. And then moving ahead to today's date, October 1st, 1984, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts released their 4th studio album, Glorious Results of a Misspent Youth. So those are the historical releases from September 25th through today's date of October 1st. If any more come through for today's date after the show, which tends to happen, those will be the lead for the next segment.
All right. I guess we will kick into our top 10 metal songs topic this week, which was we went with Home.
Yep.
So that's where the rock is.
That's where the rock is. That's right.
All right. So, like I said, I got a few extras because I kind of figured we would probably hit a few. Overlaps here, and I would expect nonetheless with this one. But there's definitely more out there than what I have on the list. And
of course,
you had a few too, so so hopefully we can have enough left over where we don't have to worry about too much of it. So,
yeah.
So my very first one I went with was Hell Yeah, Welcome Home from the Welcome Home album 2019. Then I kind of stuck with the same name here and went with Metallica's Welcome Home Sanitarium from Master of Puppets in 86.
Right.
Then I went with Motley Crue's Home Sweet Home, Theater of Pain, 1985. Or it's Motley Lou, which I don't know.
Nice.
Five Finger Death Punch, House of the Rising Sun, From the Wrong Side of Heaven, Righteous Side of Hell, Volume 2, 2013. I went with Atreyu, House of Gold, and In Our Wake from 2018. This one I kind of like. This is part of the house, so Ice Nine kills people in the attic. Every Trick in the Book 2015. Then I went with Megadeth, Coming Home from the War Chest 2007. And then I also went with another Coming Home from Avenged Sevenfold, From Hail to the King in 2013.
Oh, nice.
Then I went with Breaking Benjamin's Home from Saturate 2002. This one I went back a little ways for. I would be very surprised if we overlapped here, but went with Biohazard State of the World Address, address being your home address, but State of the World Address 1994.
Good choice.
Then I went with In Flames, This Is Our House from Eye of the Mask 2019. And some of my extras here was I think we said 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So I'm in my extras. Some of my extras here was Seven Dust Home from Home 1999. Parkway Drive, Home is for the Heartless from Deep Blue 2010. And then I went with Megadeth again, just because it's kind of a part of the house. Put Black Curtains, because curtains are in your house. So
yeah, they are.
Euthanasia 1994. And then I went with Nihilist, House of the Dead from Blood Portraits 2009. And then last but not least, I went with Every Mother's Nightmare, House of Pain from Wake Up Screaming 1993.
Damn.
So, yeah,
Nice.
so I kind of stretched it out.
Yeah. Well, I also ended up with 15, but and we didn't have as many. Yeah, we didn't have as many overlaps as I thought we would.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but leading off, I also had Welcome Home Sanitarium by Metallica from Master of Puppets 1986. Then, Myrna, hey there.
Oh, hey,
how are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, get all that homework. Yeah, get all that homework done.
Yeah.
But definitely good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah. Just tell them the dog. Just keep listening and tell them the dog ate it.
There you go. That's I like that idea. There you go.
Yeah.
Then I went with Safe Home by Anthrax off We've Come For You All for 2003. I went with Mama I'm Coming Home by Ozzy Osbourne off of No More Tears from 1991. Then I also had Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue off of Theater of Pain from 1985. And then I got away from the power ballads for a little while. I went with Gang Bang at the Old Folks Home by Steel Panther from All You Can Eat 2014.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's a fucking funny song too if you haven't heard it. Oh my god, it's hilarious. Then I went with Poseidon Will Carry Us Home by Hammer King off of the album of the same name from 2018. I went with Slaughterhouse Road by Mushroomhead off of Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children from 2010. Then I went with Welcome Home by King Diamond off of Them from 1988. Then I went with Coming Home by Iron Savior off The Landing from 2011. Then I went with Hard Road to Home by Pounder off of Breaking the World from 2021. Then my honorable mentions, that's how I always have them listed. I went with Madhouse by Anthrax off of Spreading the Disease from 1985. I went with No Home by Cold Chamber off of Chamber Music from 1999. And then Victor's shout out from earlier in the show, I went with Uncle Tom's Cabin by Warrant off of Cherry Pie from 1990. Then I went with Lead Us Home by Demon Hunter off of Storm the Gates of Hell from 2013. And then last but not least, I went with Dirt House by Static X from Start a War from 2005. So
yeah, pretty good little playlist there. So
yeah, it will be a good playlist. So we'll get that compiled and collaborated for you guys and get that posted with any luck before the weekend is over. So
yeah. All right. Speaking of which, I guess I need to share last week's playlist. So.
Oh yeah, we definitely should do that.
Do that real quick here.
Yeah. And we technically don't have a formal album review segment this week because with the albums coming out on Friday, and the fact that I worked yesterday, and we spent the afternoon and evening driving out to Knoxville and back. We didn't really have time to get into too much that was brand new. We both did listen to the new Slipknot, but everybody pretty much kind of already knows the history of Slipknot. Yeah. So basically we were concentrating more on listening to the albums from the bands that we heard last night, and we recapped the concert at the start of the show. So we can talk about the new Slipknot a little bit, but we don't necessarily really have to go into great detail about the band's history and all that stuff. Everyone should pretty much know by now they've been out since 1999. I don't know what album number this is. It's like album 9 or 10 or something like that for them, but so it came out yesterday. But there is the playlist link for last week's top 10.
Yeah, suicide awareness.
Suicide awareness. So yeah, you guys check that out. And even though still dial 9, you can still dial 988 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if you or anyone is having any issues or any thoughts of suicide. That's an important number. So thankfully it's short, so dial 988. So So I did manage to get all the way through the new Slipknot, the end so far. So um I did like the album overall. I didn't care for the first track at
Yeah,
all.
same. Yeah.
I didn't care for that one. I was kind of like, why would you lead with this track? Why would you lead with this one?
Yeah, just getting the
But
shitty stuff out of the way this time.
yeah, I guess so.
Uh,
I guess so. So I guess on the bright side there is that,
yeah.
the worst in our opinion anyway, the worst track on the album. I guess you just got to listen to it right away. And then, after that, song 2, 3, and 4 were the three singles that they released, the Dying Song, the Chapeltown Rag, and Yen. So those were next. And then track number 5, Hive Mind, track number 6, Warranty, track number 7, Machine for the Dead, track number 8, Acidic, track number 9, Heirloom, track number 7. I'm assuming they want to pronounce this Hell. It's H377. They probably want to pronounce it Hell. And then you had Decade. I'm pretty sure that's how they were saying it in the song. I've only heard it once so far because I've only heard it all the way through one time. And then the last song, aptly titled Finale. There was I don't know your opinion, but after, Adderall, you and I are on the same page. We didn't care for that song. And then, then the three singles, track number, and then there was a little bit of a lull in the middle there. Hive Mind and Warranty, they were okay songs. And then for me, like, it kind of picked back up with Machine for the Dead and Acidic.
Yeah.
And then it kind of had a little bit of a valley there in the middle before the quality picked up towards the end. So, overall, I would say it was another solid Slipknot album, but kind of like the last one, with My Pain, neither one of us liked that song either. So this album, just like the last one, had a song that we really didn't like. The plus side, and we talked about this yesterday, the plus side for this album is all the tracks on the album were full-fledged, full-fledged tracks, no music, no 30-second to 1 minute interludes that didn't really have anything to do with anything. So 12 songs, 57 and a half minutes long. So a good solid hour-long Slipknot album. You take the first song out, you still got 11 songs that are worth listening to. So I think it was still a decent album,
and I liked it better than We Are Not Your Kind. So
well, there you go. This one, this one was definitely on par, if not a little better. There were still, 3 or 4 really, really good songs on the last album that I still enjoy listening to. Definitely. But
hell, one of my favorite songs on the album wasn't even a single. So on the last album, so
yeah,
Orphan was one of my favorite songs on the last album. So
yeah. Rockin' Heavy, Victor, thumbs up right back to you there, sir. Thank you very much. So that was basically really all the music we got to listen to. But
well,
that we got to listen to together. I know you listened. I was just about to say you got to listen to a little more new stuff than I did, and you put it together on the playlist. So we did listen to some of it on the way back from Knoxville. So you talk about some of the other bands that you got a chance to listen to.
Well, I listened to the album from Hex to Pagans Rising. I listened to it twice. So
yeah, I need to sit down and listen to it because we did listen to it in the car. But we were also there. It was you and Constantine and I. So I mean, we were also chatting too. So I'll need to sit down and kind of focus on it. But from what I heard, I really liked. So I will be checking that one out.
So Hex is a melodic progressive metal band from Uppsala, Sweden. They've been around since 2015. Current members are Patrick Wahlberg on drums. No, not that Patrick Wahlberg, but David Nyman on guitars, Daniel Hawkinson on bass, Stellan Gunnarsson on vocals. So looks like maybe a husband and wife or brother sister tandem there. I don't know. I'm not really sure. So, but this was their second full length album. They have an EP in 2017, and then a full-length album, Netherworld, in 2018, and then Pagan's Rising in 2022. So just a couple albums under their belt. So, me not being a melodic power aggressive metal guy, I really did like this album. I was talking to you about it on the. I said you really need to listen to this because it's more your speed anyway. But
Yeah.
when I like it, you're probably gonna love it. So
Right.
so it's like, yeah, you got to check it out because it was definitely arch enemy type feel to it. I think, but with two vocalists and not Alyssa doing both cleans and gutturals. It had like the lead singer, of course, Tina. She did a lot of the cleans, and then Stellan kind of did some of the gutturals and backing vocals. So but I guess you could say a arch enemy sound with a Lacuna Coil concept, I guess.
That's actually a good way to describe it. Yeah. That's a good way to describe it.
Actually, I like I said, I like this album. I would it's definitely a full horn album for me for sure.
Yeah.
So,
I think that would, from what I've heard, I think that would be accurate. I still don't think I've heard the whole thing, and Victor, there's another Scandinavian band for you to check out. So
great. So
yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna sit down and listen to that from start to finish because what I heard in the car I really did like. So, and we talked about her. What was her name? Tina, lead singer. We talked about her voice. Talking about her voice, even though she sings, the straight, clean vocal,
right.
The vocals throughout. She had a little bit more of a different vocal style, even though she sings nothing but cleans, because she had a little more of an aggressive approach to the.
It wasn't as high pitched.
Yeah, it wasn't 100% of the melodic clean vocals you'll hear from some of the other bands that have the male female combo. So she still had a little bit of an aggressive tone.
Yeah, it's definitely not the Epica or With the Temptation type you're used to, for sure. So,
yeah, definitely not that it's a bad thing either way. But it's a little bit of it's a different take on the similar vocal style. So, it added a nice little twist to it. So, didn't sound like, I hate to say it this way, not quite as cookie cutter as some of the other ones. Because that sounds bad, because it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but there are similar styles in that subgenre of like the symphonic female fronted metal. Sometimes there's a little bit of I could see how some people could get like Nightwish and Epica and Within Temptation. Some of those I could see how they could get some of them confused, like me with Havoc and Hatchet, same kind of deal. I could see how that could be a little confusing sometimes. So Tina has a little bit of her own little twist on kind of like the same concept.
Right.
So, but yeah.
And then I listened to that Tyrant.
We started listening to that too.
What was it called? It was the lowest level.
I think so.
That was what it was called, the lowest level.
Yeah, the lowest level. Yep.
Yeah, so they're Tyrant's a band out of Lansing, Michigan, so right up in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
They're a heavy metal band formed by brothers Philip and Andrew Winters in 2012 while they were still in high school. Fueled by a passion for music and life on the road, Tyrant has grown into seasoned road warriors. In addition, the band has benefited from consistent radio play, including hitting number 21 on the NACC metal chart and number 3 on the metal contraband chart. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Beyond that, the group has garnered ample positive press via Metal Insider, Metal Sucks, and even the legendary Metal Injection. With a sound that is a fusion of everything from Megadeth to Kiss by way of Pantera, the band quickly...
That's true.
That's a pretty good stretch.
That's true.
The band quickly found a broad audience for their music. The fire in their bellies led to opening slots for metal legends like Deicide, Metal Church, and Diamond Head. That's pretty good company to be opening up for.
Yeah.
They released their debut album, The Pact, in 2018. And then the tours kept coming, opportunities kept growing, and notably of which was inclusion in Taco Bell's Feed the Beat campaign. Wow, oh, that's even crazier. Since then, Tyrant has remained in a positive position to strike, conquer, and dominate the metal scene. Few bands share their unique combination of youth and tenacity in the modern music world. It makes for a force that simply refuses to be stopped. Are you ready to ally with the next generation of heavy metal? Yes, I am.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I mean, that's kind of like what we've been talking about for how long with that. So who's going to be the next big thing? So
yeah,
I'm just going to look it on here because I don't know if this was. I think this was their second release, but I want to be double sure here. Let's see, lowest level. I don't want to give out something that. Yeah, this was just their second release. So they had to pack 2018 and then the lowest level 2022. So it was definitely a pretty good album, I thought. So overall,
yeah,
so.
I liked what I heard.
And it's nothing in there's I mean it's all like tracks, 9 tracks. So.
I mean, it was pretty straightforward, in your face. Like I say, like that description.
Yeah.
Kiss and Megadeth by way of Pantera. I mean, that was a pretty damn good
description.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, 9 songs, 38 minutes, 4 seconds. Not a very long listen. So
that'd be easy listen. Yeah.
So I guess most of their songs are 3-4 minutes, something like that in there. So
yeah.
But yeah, I actually enjoyed this album too. So it was definitely probably a full horn for that one too. So it definitely had an old school like type vocals and stuff to it.
Yeah.
So
of course, old school sound, new school feel.
There you go. Kind of right there. So
yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah,
not bad at all.
Yeah, they are a younger band. You can tell by looking at them; they're pretty young. So,
which is also nice when you got
I mean that's
when you literally have a young band carrying that sound forward.
Yeah. That's that's kind of like what we were talking about is we need to have more of these younger guys because right. So it's kind of crazy how we look at this and we see different people hitting the mark at different times, but I think it's safe to say the 10 or 15 year mark as a band is kind of when you hit the groove,
It seems like it, yeah.
And it's crazy to have to wait that long, but I mean, I don't know. It just seems like that's been kind of the thing that we've been looking at lately. It's like, man, you could go back and listen to like, with some albums that we've talked about before, like, oh, well, we might listen to the other two, and you can tell the growth has been going on there. So, so I think that's what we're talking about when we say it takes that long, is because you're getting that growth there, and then you're hitting that sweet spot with your recording and everything, and I think that's why we're saying it takes like 10 years or so, but. We've talked to bands on here that have been around. We talked to Eyes of the Living, which were in another band, back in the late '80s. So it's kind of wild to see them just now coming back, and I think that their sound now is more dominant. Don't get me wrong, but it's crazy to see how they came back in the 2000s and are kind of like rekindling that career, and definitely well-deserved career too, because if you haven't heard anything from Eyes of the Living, you need to, because and that's that. Speaking of that, I'll bring that up because we're going to go see that festival they're involved in next week. So,
the Tennessee Metal Devastation Festival is going to be in Lexington, Tennessee on next Saturday, October 8th. So, that we're going to be driving out that way. We're going to be out there all day. So I think we have actually, and then Jason on Sunday, he that's when his work schedule picks up. So I do believe we have made the decision that we will be taking a week off from the Metalheads Unite podcast next week to allow us to go and check out the festival. But so October 15th, October 15th. Go ahead.
And I was just saying, and hopefully we can make some connections with the people out there to try to do maybe a live stream from there next year. So
Yeah.
because we did find out it's going to try to be, they're going to try to do a yearly
Yeah.
yearly thing there. So
Yeah. So we will have a 2-week break after today. We will be back on October 15th. We will have, of course, when we come back, we'll have a recap of the festival. Hopefully after last night's show and maybe next week's festival, we'll have some more concrete details nailed down about having some more live guests.
Yep.
So we will be taking a week off next week. But before we go, we will let you guys know of the new releases coming up this coming Friday, October 7th.
Got a big one next week. So
yeah, we do. So for October 7th, leading off, we have Aara with Phthonos. That is an EP. We have Acedia with Fracture. We have Aeneon with Mnemoscene. We have Allocate with Butterfly. We have Armed for Apocalypse with Ritual Violence. We have Asgra with Facade. We have I know. We have Atruta with De Varat Apramentage. I'm hoping. We have Blind Illusion with Wrath of the Gods. We have Blodhem with Sverger Hem. We have The Bobby Lees with Bellevue. We have Borealis with Illusions. We have Captain Blackbeard with Neon Sunrise. Caustic Casanova with Glass Enclosed Nerve Center. We have Cerberus with My Prophecy Will Come. Charlotte Wessels with Tales from 6 Feet Under, Volume 2. Cloud Rat with Threshold. Coffin Torture with Blenoid. We have Kogad with Rune Tongue. That is an EP. We have COP with Enemy. We have Deeds of Flesh with Trading Pieces. That is a re-release. We have De Profundis with The Corruption of Virtue. We have Diabology with Father of Serpents. Electric Jaguar Baby with Psychic Death Safari. We have Ellison Soto with Vacation in the Underworld. And if you don't know about that project, you have to look that up. But that's David Ellison and Jeff Scott Soto.
Yeah.
They're doing like a project together. So we'll see how that sounds.
No strangers to the scene, that's for sure. So.
Right, yeah. We have Even Flow with Mediterraneo. We have Faceless Burial with At the Foothills of Deliration. Faith and Jane with Axe to Oak. Father Dear Hands with Sad Souls Don't Float. Faustian with a self-titled EP. From the Vast Land with Tauvri. We have Fucked Up with Oberon. That is an EP. We have Get the Shot with Merciless Destruction. Jillian Carter with Salvation Through Misery. Ginger Wildheart and the Sinners with a self-titled album. Goat Whore with Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven. Grief Circle with Weightless. Haven of Echoes with the Indifferent Stars. We have Hild with Valfreya. Hostage of Fate with Blessed Light Blue. Incantation with Tricennial of Blasphemy. We have Kaiji Hino and Sumac with Into This Juvenile Apocalypse, Our Golden Blood to Pour Let Us. The Killer Hurts with Starburst. Lady Luna and the Devil with Vampiric Visions Volume 1, Living Blood. Then the big one that Jason referenced, Lamb of God with Omens. Languish with Feeding the Flames of Annihilation. We have Les Enfants de Dagon with De Profundis. The Lovecraft Sextet with Miserere. Marathon with Unseen Color. I can read the French one, but not the English one. What the fuck, man? Jesus Christ. Man. We have Mastic Scum with Icon. Memories of a Lost Soul with Redefining Nothingness. Midnight Rider with Beyond the Blood Red Horizon. Mikey Ball and the Company with Through the Night. Monovoth with a self-titled album. Nero Argento with Land of Silence. Perius with The Signal Heard Throughout Space. Pearls and Flames with Reliance. Postcards from New Zealand with Liminal Space. Queensryche with Digital Noise Alliance.
Nice.
Queensryche, yeah. Red Elm with Arena. Reverend Mother with Damned Blessing. Ritual Dictates with No Great Loss. Saving Vice with Dichotomy. That's an EP. The one that we talked about in the car last night that I'm really, really interested to see how this is going to sound and what it might look like. Sermon of Mockery with Crippler, Crossface, Murder, Suicide. That is an EP. Signum Regis with Exodus. That's a re-release. Sloth Fist with Bombs Away. That is an EP. We have Source with Emergence. That is an EP. Statement with Dreams from the Darkest Side. Sudden Death with Havoc. Sun Voyager with a self-titled album, Suspiria with The Valley of Despair, Terra Maze with Flight of the Wounded, Tons with Ascension, To the Teeth with The Taste of Teeth, Upon Your Grave with Golden Decay, that is an EP. We have various artists, A Future of Bad Men, a Melvin's Tribute, Vessel of Iniquity with The Path Unseen, Wednesday 13 with Horrifier, the Wednesday 13. And then last but not least, Wind of Eternity with After All These Years, and that is an EP for them. So those are the new releases for October 7th, next Friday.
There's a couple of good ones in there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can, like, when we come back, we can actually talk about the Lamb of God album too. So.
Yeah, we can.
So
we'll definitely do that.
And then whatever else is coming out on the 15th, so or the 14th or whatever.
I mean, I guess we could technically go through that list here if you want to, but it's a doozy too. So
yeah, I mean, we don't have to.
Yeah, we don't have to. That's okay. But we just let everybody know what's coming up for the 7th. So
yeah.
So
and then we were talking about this in the car last night too. The Drowning Pool did come out this week, so I need to listen to that because that last single was damn.
It was pretty good.
I was like, wow, that's definitely different for some Drowning Pool sound. So
yeah, it was good.
A little bit metalcore-ish, but I was like, man, I like this. And of course, we can't forget I didn't talk about this. I meant to, but the Skeletor Blood Empire.
Oh yeah, that was so funny.
Oh wow! Like the whole time, I was like, this guy literally sounds like Skeletor. I was like, wow.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he did.
Then there was a couple of other ones out there that I'm gonna try to check out. Try to put something on the Facebook page since we're not gonna have a show. I can at least do that for album reviews or something.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to check out that Lost Society, and then the Rage had an EP, and then Raven also had a new album. So
yeah,
a couple of old school bands there. So
yeah,
check those.
Lots of good stuff to catch up on for sure.
Yeah, give us a little time. I'll still do a playlist next week. So if you guys want to check that out, it won't be we won't get to post it here, but we'll definitely be over on our Facebook and socials. So check that out. So, keep everybody informed of the new stuff. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So before we go, we want to remind everybody that we do, and I've got the link up on the screen if anybody wants to copy and paste that. We the fundraiser for basically at this point, the fundraiser is more or less for 2023. So we are still looking for some financial assistance to help us travel. We got a couple of tours, like I say, that we've got lined up. So hopefully we can anybody who wants to help to donate to the cause there to help us get down to Florida. Hopefully it'll be intact by the time we get down there after the hurricane and everything. So hopefully those venues made it through okay. But so hopefully we'll be able to make it down to Florida in June and then up to the Northeast maybe around this same time next year. So if anybody wants to donate to the cause, there's the link right there, or you can go to GoFundMe.com and search for Metalheads Unite. Look for the same thumbnail that we always use for everything else. We appreciate any donations anybody wants to make, no matter how small. It'll help us out. So we appreciate you guys. Yep, that one right there. And then let us not forget the ways that you can watch the show and follow us. You can follow us on our Metalheads Unite Facebook group, same thumbnail. Victor knows all about that now. He's also following Metalheads Unite over there now. So we appreciate everybody, and we appreciate Victor. Which, by the way, follow Rock and Heavy on Facebook. That's one of his pages over there. So follow him and check him out. Also follow our friends at Metal and Tats. Yep. We're all metalheads here, so there's no reason to be selfish and not share the wealth with everybody else. But you can catch. What's that?
Well, it's like we said a bunch of times. I mean, it's hard for any one entity to keep up with everything. So so it's always good to have extra ears and eyes on things. So
this, like we said before, we wish this was our full-time job. Unfortunately, it's not. So I mean, but we're all a community here. So I mean, there's no harm in sharing. Sharing other.
With a little help from Powerball, it could be.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with having having collaborations with other Facebook groups and other websites and stuff like that. I mean, we're not, other websites and Facebook groups might be selfish, but we're not selfish here. So, we're all headbangers. We're all friends here. So, but follow the show on VOPUSARadio.com, the VOP USA Radio app. We have the Metalheads Unite USA at gmail.com. Email address. I went blank there for a second. Like I say, follow us over come send us a member request at the Metalheads Unite Facebook group. Follow us on the Metalheads Unite YouTube channel, and all the other live streaming apps that are out there, Twitch, and God knows how many other ones there are, because apparently there's a shit ton of them where you can find us. So we're not hard to find. So check us out.
And I'm glad I don't have to log into all those individually. So
no kidding. Holy shit, that would take all day.
We'd have to set up at 7:00 in the morning
yeah, we would. Yes, we would.
All right. Well, I guess we will put a bow on this one.
Yep.
We went a little over 3 hours because I figured it would for all the talk that we had to do. But
yeah, thank you like I said, thank you again to everybody who came by and joined us in the chat today. We want to thank Victor at Rockin' Heavy for coming by and checking us out today. Want to thank Myrna for stopping in, even though she stopped in at the end of the show like she always does.
Well,
not
always. She said she was listening. She said, "Have a wonderful show." So I mean, she was.
I know. I'm just. I
think she had been in here for a little bit. So
I'm just yanking her chain.
She was just being quiet. So
I'm just pulling her leg. She knows that. But then thanks to William Savant from Sepsis, yep. And thank you to Devil for stopping in. We appreciate you guys. That's the show for this week. Well, like I say, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
I just kind of let you know the relationships too that we've kind of grown, recreated over all this, which was cool as fuck. So
I know
Devil, and we talk about John O'Connor from one of the last that we still message each other. So it's kind of cool to have that. Even the Face even messaged me the other day. He was giving me the heads up about the video last week. They were like, "Hey, we got the video coming out next week." I'm like, "Sweet."
Hell yeah!
So it's still cool to get those, keep those contacts going. So I don't. Yeah, that's the thing is I don't always want to just interview somebody and that be it. Like
right.
I kind of want to keep touch with what everybody's doing because it's cool to see what everybody's up to. So even Vinny, Vinny's they're working on new stuff and hopefully when they get that out we can have him back on. So so yeah. Cool guys. Like I said, I don't think I've did an interview yet that I haven't enjoyed doing. And
oh no, absolutely not.
And it means a lot to me too to have people like Devil, and it was like, oh, it didn't even feel like an interview. It's not supposed to. I mean, we're mainly just talking to you guys about what you're up to and that kind of thing. We're not crazy stories because everybody has their own crazy stories. So, I mean, unless you're a Devil, then you got three. But
well, Kevin is the gift that keeps on giving,
right? Yeah, so, he's like, he's like the, he's probably like the Kevin Minion too. So,
probably, yeah.
Yeah, we have, I mean, like I said, it's been a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun on here, and it's great. So, just to reiterate, we're unfortunately we have being with everything going on, we have to take off next week, which I really don't want to do that, but
it wasn't our first choice for sure.
Yeah, I just don't foresee having the time to put together a quality show for you guys, and I'm not and it's one of those things I've always been passionate about, even as a wrestler, is if I don't feel like I can put on what the fans need, then I'm not going to do it. I mean, that's just how I've always been. So if I don't feel like I'll have the time and effort to put toward it. I'm not going to give you a shitty show. So
we do.
I want to give you the info and content that you deserve. So
yeah, as as much as we joke around, and as many times as we fuck up during the show, we do still take this very, very seriously.
Yeah,
So.
it's still something we're passionate about. So we wouldn't still be doing it here, almost 2 years later. So.
Yeah, which we talked about it last night, which is mind-boggling in and of itself that we're almost 2 full years into this thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're looking for other things to do, I mean, you can always catch our friends over at the Decibel Geek podcast on Fridays. They do a show every Friday night over there, so you can check those guys out. Aaron and Chris, real good friends of ours. So I've known Aaron from wrestling days, so me and Aaron go way back. I think it'd be cool to have him on here and just talk shit about rock and wrestling. So that'd
be fine. Yeah,
maybe I can swing out one of these days.
Yeah.
I know he's busy. It's hard though, man, because I mean they got a lot of stuff that they work day jobs too, and then do their podcasts and things. So they're pretty busy too. So
right.
So it's we're not the only people out here doing this thing. So
that's true.
But yeah, so if like I said, if you want to go out and check some, they actually talk about some older stuff. I think they were talking about the rise and fall of White Lion this week. So that was actually, I missed that.
Wow.
So that would have been pretty cool to actually listen to. But so yeah, they do a lot of old school metal stuff. They're the Ricky Rackman of metal podcasts. So. They talk about a lot of those bands. They talk about a lot of those bands. So big Kiss fans too. So if you're a big Kiss fan, you'll enjoy that.
Yeah,
we're talking to those guys. So, but yeah, like I said, there's other options. Just because we take the week off, don't. I mean, if you want to take the week off too, that's fine too. But I'm just to let you know there's other things out there to listen to if we're not on.
But when we're on, there's nothing else on. There's nothing.
Right,
else
exactly.
On. Yeah, there's nothing. We're the only game in town when we're on. So
yeah. So
yep.
Yeah. But yeah, we do appreciate all you guys for stopping in and everything. So every week.
Yes, we do.
Even if it's once, even if you've been here once or you've been here 100 times, we appreciate it no matter the situation. So
yep.
And I know like the radio.co side's already cut off, which is unfortunate. We really got to work on our timing with that or increase the time to 3 hours. I don't know, but
we probably should at least, because I mean 3 hours and 15 minutes. It's been a while since we've gone this long, so we should probably at least bump it up to an even 3 hours.
Yeah, maybe I talked to them about that. So
yeah, we should at least do that. It buys us another 15 minutes. So
yeah. Because I feel like they miss a little bit of some content sometimes. So,
well, yeah, they do sometimes.
But they can always catch them when they get home on something else. So.
That's true. That is true. Watch the replay on YouTube. That's right.
It's the internet. It's forever. But
yeah, it is.
All right. Anyway, guys, appreciate it. Stopping by. Talking to us today,
yes,
Chris said, appreciate all you guys in the comment section and likes and shares and stuff. We really do appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And that just goes to show you like what kind of guy William is, because he's this is what he does. He even though he's in a band, he's all about promoting other things too. So
he's super duper supportive.
Yeah, and you can't beat that, man. Like for that's like some cool ass shit right there. So. But anyway, so not next week, but the next. We will be back, and so October 15th, we will see you guys right back here, hopefully, and you can catch the review of the metal festival and see if the pit to hell opened or not. And,
we'll let you know if hell on earth has arrived. Sure.
Yeah. Whatever. Jesus Christ! But anyway,
I know, right? Yeah.
Anyway, to each their own, I guess. But
yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
I'm a God fearing man, but there's common sense that goes along with that stuff too. It's like
yes, very
it seems like these people don't have any. But
well, yeah, that's true.
Anyway, we will see you guys right back here in like 2 weeks. So until then, keep those horns held high and jump in that pit anytime you can. See you guys.
Thank you guys.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
See you guys. Have a good one.